Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Just doing like a random pop-up live tonight. Wasn't plan well, I was planning on going live earlier with Brittany actually again. But it just didn't happen. But then I decided let's just do a casual live. Like we were gonna do some like case discussions and possibly some conspiracies, but at the last second we're like, oh, I break the silence. I'm sorry. It was like a pop-up live. So, we just decided, let's just go live. I know probably nobody's going to be in here because it's very late, but I figured, let's just go. Let's just talk about things. So I plan on having allegedly with Brittany, the same person as last time, and Shack up today. And anyone else who wants to come up, you're more than welcome to. Like I said, this is kind of just a casual live. Hi, Dave. Hi, Rosa. Archimedes girl. Hello, Jillian. First time of seeing you in this live chat. Jennifer Green, TH, Nelly. Oh, Nelly, it's the first time you're actually catching a live. Lynn. Oh, hello, everybody. So good to see you all. How's everybody doing? We got some big news on, hi, Miriam. We got some big news today on the Lori and Chad Daybell case. I don't know if anybody's been following that, but been waiting for charges, murder charges for the longest time. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Tina. Hey, Britt.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing? How you doing?
Good. Doing good.
Yeah, just
excited about those charges today.
Yeah, I know. Just to give everyone heads up, this was not planned, so we're not going to have like Jillian, you never heard about the Lori and Chad Daybell case? Hey, gay. This is a big case, and it's a mind fuck of a case. I've been following this since way before the children were ever found. Hey, Kimberly. Oh, Nelly, I'm so happy. I love it. I've been struggling to, because I love true crime, but there's many things I want to discuss. And a lot of those are like, just the same way I like to follow the bizarre unsolved cases of true crime. I love just bizarre and weird things in life in general. And Brittany just happens to be someone that I connected with through YouTube that knows all about that type of stuff. Hi, Stara. But the Lori and Chad Daybell case, I definitely suggest you guys to go check that out, because this is going to be another OJ trial, okay? This is going to be a trial that is going to be bizarre. You can't imagine what their defense is going to be. And you're going to be like glued. Don't you feel the same, Brittany?
I do, but I'm kind of concerned with how obvious all of the murders are. Like it's so obvious that they did all of this, but with all of the charges, it's going to be a bit of an overkill, kind of like with Casey Anthony or something. Or either they'll throw it all off on the brother, Alex. They'll say
they're going to.
They are, right?
Yeah. Okay, so Jillian. Okay, so anyone who doesn't really know, it's not like a case that you could just easily give a breakdown of. But Lori Vallow, oh God, it's so hard to give a short breakdown. Lori Vallow is a woman who, she has 2 kids and 1 adoptive son. Her older son, the oldest is, not really in the picture. Then she had Tylee and JJ. JJ was a young boy with autism. And she's been married a few times, but she was married to this one guy. It's so hard to explain, I know. And basically she met Chad Daybell, who was married, and what was he? What was he considered? He's a Mormon, and he leads the Mormon faith, but what's his title in that church, in the Mormon religion?
I'm not sure, because he was kicked out. So
he had a big role at the Mormon church and he's written many books and things like that. And she kind of fell in love with him, and he fell in love with her. And there are so many deaths in this, so it's kind of hard to give a breakdown. But Lori's husband gets shot and killed. Chad's wife mysteriously dies in her sleep. Okay. And then the two kids, Kylie and JJ, go missing. When they go missing, Lori and Chad run off to Hawaii. They get married a couple of weeks after his wife's mysterious death. And everyone's like, well, where are the kids? Where are the kids? And they kept trying to say, well, they're safe. They're safe. You know, they're safe right now. But you have to understand how bizarre it is, because Lori and Chad fell deep into this religious hole where they thought that they were supposed to lead the 144,000 because it's about to be doomsday. They thought it was going to be doomsday and the world was going to end, but they were going to lead the 144,000 either to the next life, or they were going to be the only survivors. I don't really, it's unclear. But so for the longest time, everyone was trying to figure out where are these children? There was this big, massive hunt for these children. And eventually they took Lori's brother's cell data, and they were able to pinpoint him in Chad Daybell's like property. And they took dogs there, and they were able to sniff out, and they unearthed the remains of Tylee, who was dismembered, and dismembered and burned, and JJ, yes, who was wrapped up, his head was completely wrapped in with duct tape and garbage bags. His whole body was wrapped, and then they placed stones on top of his body, a plank of wood, and they were actually buried in his pet cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, after this, Alex dies. Her brother Alex dies, the same one who killed her husband and the same one who pinged in the area for the kids. So they finally got Chad and Lori arrested, but it wasn't on the murder charges. It was like the abandonment of children, lying to the police, things like that.
A dead body in his yard.
Yeah, dead body in Chad's yard. But we've been waiting for these murder charges. This has all been going on in the course of a year and a half. And so finally today, we got the charges that there is a murder. Currently, they're being charged with murder of those children and Tammy, because afterwards, his wife that died in her sleep, they said something's fishy about this, and they exhumed her body. And they did an autopsy. They haven't released the autopsy results yet, but since she is included in the murder charges, we're assuming foul play. Oh yeah, Jillian, this has all been happening over the course of a year and a half, Lynn. So it's been a long thing. And Lori and Chad believe that they've been reincarnated, that they have been married throughout many past lives. Yes, the brother did try to shoot Tammy, and she mistaken it for a paintball gun. Like, I'm not doing it justice because I wasn't planning on getting into all this tonight. It was supposed to just be a casual night, but
Did you actually hear in the arrest records? Alex, the brother, was actually researching how to shoot through a Dodge Durango.
Oh no, I did not.
Yes. I'm not sure if that's the car that Tammy Daybell drove, but it was 2 days before the attempted shooting of her. And Lori and Chad actually were texting about her. They said that Tammy was, they didn't say she was a zombie, but they basically were saying she was like demonically possessed.
Oh, yes. That was their whole thing, is that they were led to believe that the kids and the family have turned to zombies, which means that they are just a vessel. Their soul is no longer inside of them. And
they're on the dark
side. Yeah, they are now, like killing them would be a mercy, because really they're evil and they're part of the dark side. So that's what I mean by, as far as this trial is going to be crazy, because we could only imagine what their defenses are going to be. Hey, Jet's mom. Exactly, Rosa. Yeah.
if you read the details of some of the affidavit, it mentions other co-conspirators. So there's more arrests that are coming. Probably the niece Melanie, right? I imagine
I
maybe
don't
her
think
husband,
they're gonna. I don't think
Zulema.
they're gonna. I think possibly Zulema, but I do not think that they're gonna press charges against Melanie Gibbs. I think that she is the star witness, one of the star witnesses, and I think that if there was gonna be any charges, they would cut her a deal.
Yeah, I think Melanie Gibbs will definitely walk. But Melanie Boudreaux, the niece, I
Yeah.
think that they'll definitely arrest her
Oh, they should.
because
She absolutely knew what was going on.
she was in Hawaii with Lori. Was it like the weekend after one of the kids were murdered?
Yeah. Like
I'll have to look.
the timing is just so bizarre. Check.
Yeah.
I dropped the link if you got it. Well, yes, Rosa, Melanie Gibb was deep in that cult. But when Lori called her and asked her, listen, like JJ is safe, but like, can you please tell the police that, like that he's staying with you, like she didn't know. And yes, she was dumb. And yes, she did some sketchy things, but she did come forward and she did, try to help as much as she could. She recorded their phone conversations. Oh, Miriam, absolutely. They're going to blame Alex, and it's the perfect excuse now because he's dead and they could point the finger. And I hope they investigate Alex Cox's death even further. Because now
I think Lori,
I
think Lori may try to roll on Chad as well because
they're going to roll on each other. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't see where he would have much of because he had that book publishing company and he wrote all those books for years. And she wasn't like the first woman that he tried to I don't know, what would you say he was doing? Like he kept telling all of them that he was married to him in a past life.
Yes.
Like he had that
but I think Lori was
one other lady before her.
Yeah.
What was her, Julie Rowe, I think?
Yeah, well, that's what she claims, but Julie Rowe is sketchy in her own sense. If you've seen It's a Crime, Linda, It's a Crime, back when this was all going down, she posted like voicemails with her and stuff, and she was talking in straight up code. It was just weird.
If they know what's good, if Julie Rowe knows what's good for her, she will get a lawyer because she was talking to Chad about Chad Daybell's wife dying well before it happened. She actually even said she had visions of when it would happen. So it wouldn't surprise me that he and her were planning that before Lori even came into the picture.
Oh, well, Mark Means is no longer her attorney, Rosa. They can't afford it. Yeah, they can't afford to continue to pay Mark Means because now that Tammy's death was ruled, I guess, a homicide, Chad is going to have to owe back all that insurance money, and like that he blew in Hawaii and stuff. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's no longer her defense lawyer, and she's gonna have to get like a public defender or something.
Yeah, because I don't think her parents come from money, from what I understand. They're just regular middle class.
Sorry.
Y'all just woke up screaming. Oh, I'm sorry. I know how that is.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is one of those cases that kind of hits me close to home too, because JJ was autistic and I have a son. My 7-year-old is autistic. And the depravity and the evil that is in these people, oh my God, I just like how could you kill your own kids and then go to Hawaii on a honeymoon
weeks later and got married? Yeah.
And you see in those pictures, not a care in the world. There they are with the ukulele, just standing there smiling.
Yes. Jillian,
like a bunch of idiots.
Initially, when his wife died, they didn't know all this was going on. And so out of his religious beliefs, he denied getting an autopsy and they buried her. It wasn't until months and months later that he got remarried and they looked into Lori, and Lori's kids are missing. Her husband was shot dead. that they decided we need to exhume her. The idiot didn't get her cremated when he had a chance, but they decided to exhume her and do the autopsy. And the autopsy results came back in December, I believe, but they weren't public. But they just had the grand jury last week, and it was JJ, Tylee, and Tammy that they're both being charged with the murders of. Oh, hi, Caitlin.
I also think that JJ's birthday just passed.
Yeah, someone was saying it is his birthday.
Is it today?
I'm not sure because I don't know. Honestly, the past few days I've been all over the place.
Okay, so I know that it's like within these last 2 days, so that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, they're saying it's today. Hey, Irvin.
And also, Alex.
If one of the mods could do me a favor and drop Irvin's channel link in the chat, everyone go check out Irvin. He's a new creator just like me, but he's really, really good and very much into the Watts case. So everyone go check him out and subscribe if you get a chance. Just throwing that out there.
I will definitely subscribe. I'll definitely subscribe when I finish here.
Yeah, a lot of people know him because he's prevalent like me before he made a channel. He's been prevalent in the community and in the chats and stuff. But he's a really good person and he's really good. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, I love watching him on panel with Natasha.
And it's always so nice to have a male perspective, in my opinion, because it's such a female-dominated community. So whenever we have the opportunity to hear a male perspective, I'm very intrigued on listening to what they have to say. Yeah, absolutely. And initially when Lori's husband was shot and killed, she thought she was under his life insurance, but he knew he was in danger. And right before he changed it, and a lot of people speculate that she was resentful towards the kids because it went to JJ's paternal grandparents. But
can I just say how sad it was on the body cam footage of what was his name? Her husband, Vallow, Charles. How
Vallow,
sad it was. Charles Vallow on the body cam pleading with the police to get her help.
Yes.
Like with all of the evil and wicked things that she had done to him, he still cared for her and was trying to get her the help that she needed. And they would not listen.
Absolutely. And this is what we discussed about the other night, is that hindsight is always 20/20. You know, the same thing with the Cash Gurdon case is like, there's so many red alarms, there's so many red flags, yet the police don't really act on it. How many times did people call in about Brown? You know, like we were reading out comments about someone who said he had just broken into my house. I had to call the 911 operator multiple times and they even put me on hold, but nothing was followed through about it. Thank you, Jennifer. But once something is too late and it already happens, then you look back at it and it's like, well, it could have been handled. It could have been prevented.
Yeah.
Hey, Susie.
And then you see her in the police station with Tylee.
Yeah.
And Tylee's more of the parental figure than she is. Like, she's sitting there trying to calm her mom down.
Absolutely.
And her mom's sitting there acting like she's the one that's 16 and Tylee's the one that's the adult.
Yep, absolutely.
And that gives you a glimpse into what kind of life she had to have with her mom.
I agree. Hey, Shack Shack.
Hi, what's up?
There you are.
Here.
How's your night going?
Good. Pretty good.
Do you know about the Vallow case?
No, I haven't followed. There's, God, how many cases do I get to follow here? I don't have time.
But this one was a bizarre one. Like, it was definitely a bizarre case.
I've been listening off and on, but I haven't caught on to it, what it's about yet.
Yeah. Just taking like a week out of your time to catch up.
Say it again.
Take at least a full weekend to catch up because it's a lot.
I wish I had more 3-day weekends, like one that's coming.
But okay, I just feel like having a casual night tonight, and let's just have a fun conversation. So I'm going to ask random questions. Okay.
If you guys want to talk about the case, I'm not.
You're breaking up a bit, Shack Shack.
Really, Oh,
No,
if you
I
guys
didn't
want to
feel like
continue
I
on
said.
that case,
I
I'm not well versed in that one just yet. So
no, that's
do I have
fine.
any
Like
way?
we were just bringing it up because you know, like there were just charges brought up. But I'll do a live dedicated that. I just feel like keeping things casual tonight and light topics. Susie, we were originally talking about the Lori and Chad Daybell case, and the charges that were just brought up today. But we're just gonna jump from topic to topic, whatever the flow is. Hello, Miss Teasy Lee. I'm sorry to ask again, but if you know, Jennifer, I don't know if you're the only mod in here at the moment, but if you don't mind dropping Miss Teasy Lee's channel also, she just created a channel, and she does tarot cards and readings and mediumships, and she just had Robbie on the other night, and she had Irvin on the last time, and she's really good, so definitely go check her out also if that's something you guys are into, and show some support. But okay, I'm gonna ask you guys
just real quick.
Sure.
Can anybody hear any wind noise coming
Not
from
wind.
here?
I don't think wind. Why, do you have a fan on?
I have a fan. I just want to know if it's going to be a problem. Otherwise,
No.
I'll just leave it on. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Let me think, because I'm just winging it here. If there's one big conspiracy that's out there that you guys are 100% certain is true, what conspiracy would you guys choose? Please don't all go at once.
Oh, that's a good one. Just I need a second to
I
marinate
know.
on that.
Yeah, I need a second too. If there's one big conspiracy that
it's you
is
know, a blatant cover up. You know, it definitely either occurred or is occurring. What conspiracy would you guys choose? And I say conspiracy loosely because a lot of conspiracies actually have happened.
Probably 9/11.
That's mine, obviously.
Probably on the top of my list, at least something that affected me in my lifetime.
Absolutely.
I sat and watched it on TV.
Yeah, that's definitely like you guys already know that about.
There's a million and one questions for that topic alone.
And I'll be doing dedicated lives to that. That's just, it's too deep and something to even, I can't even bring up just little points about it because once I start, I can't stop. And I lose focus. So
falling right down. Can you believe it's been almost going on 20 years? I mean, gosh.
I know. How crazy is that? The moon landing? Okay, Shannon. Well, okay, I'm going to ask you.
I agree with you on the moon landing.
Do you think we just haven't gone to the moon, or do you believe the moon landing footage was fake? Because the footage was fake, but we've been to the moon.
I agree with the moon landing part, but with the footage.
Well, I heard some sources I've noticed said that we landed on the moon, but we were basically warned off or told never to come back by whoever occupies the real estate on the moon right now.
Correct.
And then I've heard that the moon landing was filmed in the Arizona desert somewhere. So
by the same guy who created The Shining, Stanley Kubrick.
Yes, and he actually tried to tell people about this, and he put subliminals like in the movie The Shining.
Yeah.
There are a lot of connections, you know, like some of them, you know, like, see, this is what sucks is that when you mention a conspiracy and things like that, people go from, there's no in between, it's just black and white, you know, so it's like,
the eye rolls begin.
Yes,
and the huffs
it's either you're crazy or not.
Okay.
These conspiracies do occur. Now, do I feel like people could just look into The Shining and see a bunch of those connections? Yeah. Do I necessarily think that that's the case? No. There is a nice medium. You know, it's a spectrum. It's not just black and white. There is a gray area. But I've heard the same thing, Shaq, that what had happened is when we landed on the moon, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, when they arrived there, they were not the first ones there. There were alien spacecrafts already there, and that there was beings of some sort. And when we got there, the Dracos, when we got there, basically they communicated to us that we cannot return to the moon because we basically have not evolved enough as humanity to start taking things into outer space. We are at war with each other. Our frequencies, our vibrations, were very low. And until we can learn how to coexist on our own planet and properly take care of our planet, we cannot return.
And the words I heard were that humanity was not on the correct spiritual plane just yet. That we weren't ready for space travel or more to be given better technology or more technology, because anytime man obtains something powerful as far as technology is concerned, the first thing we do is think of a way to destroy our fellow man with it.
Exactly.
To weaponize it and control it and make money on it. And
Irvin, if you want to come up, you're more than welcome to. I love having various opinions on board, so I'd love to hear how you don't think it's a conspiracy. There's many. Okay, so put it this way: all of the data and footage we have from going to the moon, they said a few things. They said, "Oh, well, we had it on we had it on tape, but we accidentally recorded it over it." This isn't like a wedding VHS where you are trying to record, your favorite TV show and you accidentally, destroy the footage. Okay, that. And then they said, well, it got destroyed. For some reason, we are not able to recreate the same technology that we've done back in 1960s and get back to the moon. Are you serious?
There's actually
returned, right?
No, there's actually footage of an interview with Buzz Aldrin where a guy's confronting him with footage of how they faked the moon landing. Did you ever see that, Melissa, where it was a video that was it was not supposed to be released to the public, but it showed how they put like a black cylinder over the back of the window, like of the back part of the space shuttle, to make it look like, to give the crescent and the appearance of Earth in the distance.
Yes.
But it was, and all of a sudden the camera light comes on and it shows they're filming inside of this aircraft.
Yeah.
And Buzz Aldrin was questioned about that.
And he gets defensive.
And he gets so defensive and so nervous.
I told you, he punched a reporter.
Yeah, and he's like, how did you get a hold of that footage? And you expect me to sit there and watch this with you now? And the guy's like, well, yeah, I want you to explain to me what this is. And he's like, well, you shouldn't ask me these questions. We're the pilots. You should ask the people that are, how did he say it? You should ask the people that are in charge.
I think the reason that Buzz gets so mad is that he did go to the moon, but the footage put out was fake. So he has people questioning him, and why else would you get so defensive? He's probably getting defensive because he really did, but for some reason, people aren't able to see the actual footage.
Yeah, there's inconsistencies with each of the stories as well.
Maybe there was no proof, and the U.S. government went ahead and created their own proof.
Yeah, I mean, if you take the moon footage landing, okay, or the footage of them while they're on the moon, and you just did a little research, you would know that the shadows and the light source and the perspective do not add up. The gravity itself, the way you would bounce, the way your footprint would leave an impression under those conditions, do not add up. Just like Brittany was saying in regards to being in the shuttle itself and the way that the Earth would look from that vantage point does not make sense. Jillian, I've heard a lot about the Sandy Hook. I haven't done.
Oh God, Sandy Hook.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell you about Sandy Hook all day long.
I'm gonna avoid that
Sandy
one
Hook
for
is
now.
more likely a government psyop. I know a lot of people think the Chris Watt case is the government psyop, but I doubt it. It's more likely with school shootings, mass shootings, and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
believe
agree.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're absolutely right, Shannon. There's all types of life going on in the universe. Like I've said many times in my lives, there are more galaxies than individual grains of sand on this entire planet. You are crazy to think that we are the only living life form. And a living life form can be as small as bacteria. But there are absolutely advanced civilizations and intelligent beings all around this universe that are much more advanced than we are.
Another just one of the conspiracies that I can tell
Gabby
you I
Joe.
believe is true. I do believe that there are secret societies that the governments in the higher echelon they're all a part of, and that they're Luciferians. There's proof of that.
Skull and Bones is a known.
Yes.
Known.
Yes.
I mean, there's no secret to it.
Fraternity. It's a Yale fraternity.
Yeah, you have Skull and Bones. You have what's it called? The one that Trump's a part of, like his family, their origins. Dang it. I'm drawing a blank, but it'll come to me.
Exactly.
I don't like saying the Illuminati because that sounds so cliche.
Well,
but
that's
kind of what it is.
Illuminati, cabal, shadow government, whatever. It's a particular group of people with power.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, Shannon, there is the conspiracy that anyone with Rh negative blood type are actually alien species, and I am Rh negative, which makes sense.
I'm O negative too, Melissa.
Right,
oh, really?
Those blood types.
Yes, I've done a lot of research into the Rh negative because of that.
Yes, Stara, they do say octopus are from another planet. They theorize that some kind of crater, whether it be a meteor or something, brought the DNA and the bacteria, like whatever it would be, and it impacted our planet. And from there, octopus came about, because everything about octopus does not make sense, besides of how insanely intelligent octopus are. If nobody knows that, they should do some research, because octopus are insanely intelligent species, and they're able to camouflage themselves. You should even look up what an octopus looks like when it's dreaming, because when it's dreaming, you see it camouflaging all the different types of things that they're imagining in their head. It's so crazy. Hello, Luann. But sorry, I got interrupted, Irvin.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're fine. But what are you guys talking about, that whole blood type thing? Well,
yeah, we saw that, the Rh negative blood type.
Well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean alien. You got to remember, humans are still evolving, and our blood types also evolve along with it. So having a different blood type could not necessarily mean alien. It just possibly means there's our blood type is evolving to something better. With our medical technology nowadays, excuse me, we had a lot of vaccines going on that contributed to the Rh factor. I
agree.
It doesn't necessarily mean probably alien DNA. Alien DNA, as in we're not sure what it is yet, but it's humanoid.
Look at the octopus. An octopus has, I think, 9 brains or something.
Yes.
I heard that each arm, each tentacle has its own independent
nervous system, its own brain,
its own independent brain. And there's 8 of them, and then plus the center of the octopus would be 9.
Well, the ocean is a whole different ball game. I mean, just the fact that we know more about space than
we know more about space than we do the ocean. Yes, that's right, Irvin.
So I mean, the ocean is a whole different ball game into that. So I definitely do believe there are like a lot of things we have no clue of it.
Yeah, it's an entire another. It's probably the most land that has never been inhabited. We have no idea what's down there.
Oh yeah. Put it this way: if you take Mount Everest, the height of Mount Everest, and you turned it upside down, the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest known part of the ocean that we have discovered as of now, it's way further than Mount Everest.
It's about 7 or 8 miles down is the furthest known.
Think about Mount Everest and how high it is, and then how deep the ocean is, okay? Those are 2 huge, vastly different like height. But if you shrunk Earth down to the size of a cue ball and rubbed the size of like a little
8 ball.
like a little 8 ball, and rubbed your finger over it, it would be smoother than a cue ball. Like that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson said. If you shrunk it down to a little bitty ball, Earth, and you rubbed your finger over it, it would feel so smooth, smoother than it would feel like if you rubbed it over a cue ball, he said. Even though you have Mount Everest, the highest peak, and the Mariana Trench, the lowest peak, it is so smooth because that's how big Earth is. You don't realize how big it actually is.
Yeah, the ocean scares me too.
Jillian, I agree.
Open waters.
So we also got to remember, unknown does not mean alien.
Absolutely. But let me ask you this, Irvin. Do you believe that there is life beyond this planet?
Most definitely. Yeah, for sure. But the problem with that is we always equate life into human meanings because what I'm trying to say is just because we can't say it with our technology, our machine, or our own biology, we already count it as aliens and stuff like that. I guess it is an alien.
Well, when I say alien, I'm talking about any life form outside of Earth. And you have to remember, Mars used to be an Earth-like planet. Mars had water, Mars had an atmosphere, Mars had trees, Mars had oxygen. Something happened where the atmosphere in Mars got destroyed, and that is why it's the red planet it is today.
Right, and I think Mars is just a good example of what happens to us next. I think it's of how our planets just go down the line and who's next and who's gonna get destroyed and stuff like that. So most definitely there are intelligent life form out there. To think that there isn't is just
naive,
ludicrous, right? I mean, think of the vast numbers of planets we have in just our own galaxy. I mean, the likelihood of it is, there is intelligent life.
But am I the only one that believes they're the fallen angels?
No, it's not that I don't believe it. I don't know enough about it because, like I told you last time, if Elon Musk went in a time machine, okay, and we're very close to getting to a time machine, and brought his rocket ships that are able to not only blast up into space, rotate around a planet, and then land successfully back in itself. If you took that technology and went back in time and showed someone, they would think that you are our God, that you are some kind of alien species. So who's to say that that wasn't us traveling back in time? Or a different, a different alien species coming and making contact with us. A lot of people believe Jesus and Buddha and all these, monumental people throughout history that had these abilities, may have been aliens themselves. And they came to Earth and we just like gods. Even in old time photos, and you mentioned that last time, Brittany, is that there are documented things that they weren't able to explain, what seemed like saucer-shaped aircrafts in the sky before they even
13th century paintings and depict.
And now our own government is starting to actually admit that there are UFOs out there.
Well, I was about to ask you guys, did you guys see the new footage that they released? It has like the military tracking some kind of aircraft and it goes from like 50 miles per hour, then immediately starts to 200 miles per hour. And you have to realize there's no form and no sign of propulsion. Propulsion meaning we have gas, we start our engines, that's how we propel. There's no visible sign of propulsion. These aircrafts are able to make impossible maneuvers, meaning they're able to go upside down, travel sideways without. And meanwhile, if we did that, if we even tilted our airplane slightly wrong on the wrong angle, we would come tumbling out of the sky.
Well, it's impossible from what we know.
And go right down into the ocean.
Right.
Dive right down into the ocean.
Hi guys, sorry to interrupt, but
real quick, Shannon, yes, there are super soldiers, definitely. There's evidence of that and proof.
I've never heard of a super soldier.
Actually,
hold on, wait, sorry. Okay. Who's on the panel? Who's the names on the panel? I can't see names.
It's Nelly. Hi.
Hi, Nelly. How are you?
To you guys.
You have to just butt in because we're very big talkers and we interrupt each other. So just butt right on.
You're good. You're good.
And I'm
Those
sorry
things
for
are
cutting
just-
anybody off. I apologize for
No.
past and advance because I'm
It is
bad for
all
that.
good. I always do it. But go ahead, Nelly. Tell us what you think.
There's a lot of things I think. There's when you guys started about if we've been on the moon, the whole thing of space is weird. Like if you look at footage, there was a video with I think it was the first George Bush president, and he's in a wheelchair and he's at NASA, and
Yes.
they're walking him through, and there's a green screen,
Yes,
and
there
they're
was.
pretending that he was in space, and like
Yes,
they
they
didn't
did.
notice that they was catching that, and it's like,
You are
and you can
absolutely
see,
right.
yeah, and other footages of you can see like the wire hanging out from the belt of the guy like tumbling around, and
I mentioned that last time. I said, like they take the footage of the International Space Station, which is supposed to be floating in our atmosphere right now. And a lot of times they'll do footage, live feeds with kids in elementary school where ask the astronauts questions, watch them blow bubbles, with water in space. There's no gravity. And there's a lot of footage, and I'll bring the footage up where it'll be when you're in gravity, okay, you shouldn't need to have holsters or any type of suspension to hold you up. Meanwhile, you'll see these astronauts and the tops of their pants are being pulled because they have holsters holding them up and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't any ISS. We can see the International Space Station. If you know where it is at that time and you look into a telescope, you could see it. But there's some funny business going on with NASA, okay? And they put out
Let's not forget all of the water
footage.
bubbles either.
yeah.
Mhm.
Or the women's
All of the water
hair,
bubbles
the
you
women's
see in the
hair
footage.
that doesn't move. Like when you see the plane where they
Yes.
go, and you could be in the no gravity plane. The women's hair like flows everywhere, and then the one that's in up in NASA, her hair is just straight up like with super glue in it or something.
Yeah, because they say they go in a plane. They go up in a plane, and they're supposedly you can get so high up the plane can like.
Yeah,
How
and then you
does
go
it work,
down
Melissa? I know
really
you know
quick,
what I'm
so-
talking about.
Yeah, you go high up really quick, and then they go down. So it like converts it to something that you can fly around kind of like you do in space. They have that, and people do that. But the ones that they show NASA, like completely different of what those other people went and actually took videos of and have their own, home videos.
I was wondering
from
how
their
they
phones.
take off in a rocket, and I know there's an aircraft attached to it, but that rocket takes them so high out of Earth's orbit. How do they find gravity to return with an aircraft like that? How they end up landing this airplane on a runway from outer space.
Are you talking about
You know
Elon
what I
Musk?
mean? No, I'm just talking about
Like
NASA
the
when they go out.
SpaceX or SpaceX
When they take a
return.
typical
Rocket.
when they take a typical flight to outer space for some reason.
Right.
I got a little bit of an echo. And when they return, I mean they're out there floating, and maybe there's something I missed, but they're out there floating around in space, no gravity, but what propels them back
Then
to Earth?
they have rockets that specifically launch and
Mhm.
build up enough force to shoot them past into the atmosphere. And then once they break that barrier, once they break the sound barrier and get back into our atmosphere, it's more just about landing properly. But they have thrusters built. That's why whenever they take the rocket ship up, they always release the thrusters that they just used to leave the atmosphere. And then they have a new set of thrusters that brings them back into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
What
I
about
just
the
don't think they
SpaceX?
go
I
up.
just wondered what do they do? Maybe I'm just overthinking because there's not supposed to be any oxygen in outer space.
No,
right?
it's a vacuum. It's a vacuum.
Right. So what's, again, I mean, there's something I probably missed, but what's
That's a great question.
What's feeding into this rocket that's blasting them back to Earth? There's got to be oxygen.
Oh, they have oxygen tanks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I see what you're saying. Yeah, but I also accept that there is some things that I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know.
Mm-hmm.
I love the movie The Martian. You know what's funny? Neil deGrasse Tyson, I don't know if anyone knows Neil deGrasse Tyson, but he's a very famous astrophysicist, you know, and scientist. But he said, because they said he very much enjoyed watching all these space movies and the way that, you know, Hollywood would portray it. And they asked, what movie nailed it the best, was the most accurate as far as, you know, what it really is like? And you know what movie he said?
What, Close Encounters? What?
Monsters, Inc.
I love that movie. I love that movie.
Monsters, Inc. in regards to the way that they have a whole factory full of these doors. And these doors where you could open one door and leave one spot and return into another spot. Like, you know, the way they banish the abominable snowman and he's in the middle of nowhere.
Like portals?
But the movie, what's the movie called? With Matthew McConaughey, the space one. I never remember things when I'm on panel.
Me either.
What's the really good movie with Matthew McConaughey, the space one? Oh my God, you guys.
You want me to ask my Alexa?
No, I'll find out in just a second. Come on.
I don't think he ever made a space movie, did he?
Are you kidding me?
I don't remember that either.
It was with Anne Hathaway.
Yes, come on.
Like, I don't.
Interstellar. Come on, you guys. Interstellar. I hate I can't remember.
Oh, I never seen that.
Interstellar is the realest, most accurate depiction of a black hole that we have. So they actually spent a lot of fucking money and a lot of time getting the computer to generate, because at that time we never had an image of a black hole. That ended up coming out later, which was, I was so excited that day. But they generated the closest thing to what a black hole would look like in real life. And I agree, Seeking the Truth Day. I love both Apollo 13 and Armageddon, but Interstellar is definitely one of my favorites because it falls on the time travel, like what I kept saying about how time is all relative. So even though Matthew McConaughey, he leaves and goes to different planets, but his daughter stayed here and aged, you know, the way that we aged. But he was only gone in his time for about a year. But when he came back, it was like 60 years that passed for his daughter. But that's what I mean by time travel. Time is a man-made thing. So it's all relative depending on where you are.
Well, you mentioned Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There's actually, I don't remember his name, but he's this higher person in the military or whatever. He worked in the Dulce.
Talking about Bob Lazar?
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Maybe. He said that movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, is the closest that it gets to what the Greys look like.
Well,
he said that Steven Spielberg hit the nail on the head.
The Greys, okay? The tall Greys are an actual alien species. The small Greys are actually droids, meaning those aren't a natural like life form. Those are the droids that those are the ones that you always hear about, the small little, you know, like gray figures with the big bug eyes. Yeah. Those are actually droids. Yes.
They're like the worker bees, right?
Yeah, exactly. They go, because think about this. Yeah. If you were an advanced species, you wouldn't be the one traveling and doing all this dirty work. What we would do is we would, you know, make robots and intelligent robots, and they go and do the work for us. That's what they did. They're droids.
What about the Vril?
Say that again.
The Vril, Vriel. I think that's how you spell it.
I'm not sure.
You haven't seen where the guys in the Navy are talking about him? He draws a picture of him on the whiteboard.
Oh, are you talking about alien species? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Vrils.
Wait, so you guys know an actual alien species walking amongst us on this Earth?
Yeah, there's like so many different kinds.
There are absolutely alien species walking among this Earth right now. They would look so much like you and I that you wouldn't be able to tell that they were alien. If you look them dead in the face, you would be able to tell there's something a little off, but you wouldn't be able to actually pinpoint what it was. Now, that's not all aliens. That's just
No,
one of the
well,
species.
well, what would they want from us or anything like that? Like if they're here and they exist, I mean, there must be some sort of purpose or reason why they're here.
Okay, put it this way. Our whole space program, aren't we dying to know, is there life beyond Earth?
Okay, so
Yeah, right?
no,
We
but
would want to know that.
they already made it. We have a hard time finding them and getting there. They made it here already.
Right.
So-
Well, I'm trying to start from the beginning before they made it here. In the beginning, they were probably just like you and I and us. They're searching for, is there a life form out there? Okay. It depends on what you want to believe. It depends on if you want to believe they were sole species on a planet and they didn't know there was any life form yet, or you could get into the real deep theories where they believe that there is an entire organization already between and an agreement between multiple different species from multiple different planets. And that's when you get into the Corey Wood and like what they like I forgot the name of the society that he calls it, but he basically says that you go into a room the same way that we have with like councilmen and from every country, we come together and have discussions. You go into a room and basically two of every alien species are there, and we all talk and discuss with one another. Like
interstellar like council.
Yeah, something like that. That's not the name of it, but yes, absolutely.
But wouldn't we fight? It's just our nature, and I'm saying maybe some alien species are peaceful and completely different.
Yes, some are good, some are bad, just like us, Irvin.
Right. So what are they doing here? I mean, you said they were looking for intelligent life. They found it. Now what?
Right. Okay. Well, I could sit here and I could speculate all day. A lot of people believe that they tweaked our DNA and sped up evolution. We're just monkeys in a zoo.
We're the zoo. They've been keeping an eye on us. I mean, if you look at it a certain way, sometimes I believe that maybe they had a hand in our creation.
Or they,
and so at some point, and they're just sitting back studying us.
Or they tweaked our DNA by coming down here and sleeping breeding with us.
Well, a lot of people do believe that there are interspecies. A lot of people who are
I'm pretty sure they're going to breed with us if they've been down here for a while.
Yes, a lot of abductees. A lot of the same stories are that they were taken, and they have these memory recalls of not just doing odd experiments and taking their blood, but a lot of them have like these recalls of either being put in a sexual situation with.
Yes.
It's not always an alien, but they said it looks like a hybrid between an alien and like a human species. But is that not exactly what we would do? If we found a species on a different planet that was a lower intelligence than us, you don't deny it. Our government would be the first one to pick them up and start doing experiments on them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I wonder if if they even have sex organs, or if they've evolved out of sexual activity.
What about other alien species? I mean, I'm pretty sure one species is gonna claim us, and there should be like some sort of battle, I'm guessing. And there's just no way there's just one alien species and one human species, and end of story. I get it. Yeah, they're probably our creators that tweaked our DNA. Okay, I get that, but it's just them now.
We don't know. Like this is where all the questions come from. I don't have all the answers. No one has someone has all the answers, but it really could be anything. Like I don't know. All I do know is that like there is a lot of evidence, and if you go into all these CIA release documents and all of these, you guys gotta go to Dave. What's his name? Shaq Dave. Dr.
Oh, David Icke.
No, not David. I'm shit.
Oh,
it's the
no.
other one. Not the David. It's
Greer.
Yeah, Dr.
Stephen
Greer. You guys got to go.
I love
the Undisclosure website, where he has multiple hundreds of ex-government officials who hold amazing titles, each one of them giving out their testimony, written statement, and they're on camera. Some of them black out their faces because it's a scary topic, and they admit what their role was where they were stationed, what they encountered, what the government is doing. Now, are you telling me every single one of those people are lying? These are straight up government officials who hold legitimate titles.
Stephen Greer was up there. He was up there crying before, like,
and Stephen Greer was and Stephen Greer was in there with Obama at the White House.
He said that we
what's going on.
No idea what they know, and they're not telling us. Like, there's so much stuff out there that we still don't know, and it's like he was so frustrated. I don't know if he was frustrated or overjoyed.
Neil Tyson deGrasse. It's not
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
It's not that he doesn't believe. Bring me an alien.
Oh, he's all against aliens.
Well, I don't think he's against. It's more, he's kind of like me. He probably admits that there are, possibly, but bring me one before we start going any further. I mean, I know it sucks that, absence of evidence is not evidence, but it's just really hard to comprehend and agree that these things are out here without giving me one.
Yeah.
And shouldn't they, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to slip up. Why hasn't anyone slipped up? Like one dead alien body, and with our ways of communication now, with everyone has cell phones, shouldn't there be one caught on film? Just one?
There are. Are you saying that there aren't?
Where?
You're talking about like a living biological entity, like a real alien?
Yeah, something. A finger of an alien that, they've been researching something. They found a tail, something.
Okay, well, put it this way. You have to accept that if there is alien species and they have come to Earth, their technology is way, way, way beyond what our technology is. And if you look at the evolution of technology and think about where technology is going to lead in the future, you have to accept that it's going to be smarter than us, because that's just been proven. Yes. And we're going to be able to do things through technology that it's impossible. So to sit there and say, well, why haven't someone been able to snap a picture or something? They have total control. That's like us going back to the Stone Ages and saying, well, why didn't someone draw a picture? We absolutely would be able to control anything. And I don't know. I find it.
You're right.
That we don't know, but there's a lot also more that we're not even capable of really understanding. It doesn't even.
If
we don't have the.
They definitely have better technology and a way to suppress us from ever knowing that they're here. It makes sense.
Can I ask you guys something?
Of course.
So, how old do you think the Earth is?
Holy
it's
hell.
A couple billion years old.
I would say it's in the billions. I know there's some Christian fundamentalist groups that think that the Earth's 12,000 or 15,000 years old.
We've been here a lot longer. I mean, Earth has been here a lot longer than we can fathom.
Okay.
Well, as a Christian, sorry,
it's 4.54 billion years old. And that's just Earth.
That's a scientific number.
Yes,
Right.
but you have to also understand that all the other planets could have been around for 4.5 billion years before us,
Right, and that's our best educated guess in a way, because there's no way for us to prove it undeniably. So I'm thinking 4.5 billion. I'm gonna go times 20 of that, 20 more back. I'm gonna say we're a lot. Earth was here a lot longer than we ever think.
Yes.
Okay, so to follow up with that,
yeah, I was
so there's been people. What was that?
No, go on, Nelly. You're good.
Oh, okay. So there's been people on the Earth for thousands of millions of years, right? So my question is, how come, like, they had people thousands of years ago, whatever, they had all the equipment, supplies, everything to build what we have now, like technology-wise, everything. Why has it started recently, like the iPhones, internet?
Okay, well, that's
you know what I mean? Like, why hasn't this been done?
It has.
1,000 years.
It has. I talked about this. There is evidence of a past advanced civilization, but they're not going to reveal that to us, Nelly. Why would they reveal?
No, I know. Yeah. No, I know that. Like, I've done my research. I was just wondering your guys' opinion on that. And
well, I think it's just our time. That's it. I have no better way to explain it. back then, you think about it, in our existence when we were humans, we still had to evolve ourselves. This is the same reason why humans still have back pains. We're still evolving. If we are truly from this planet, we should be comfortable and not get back pain from our own gravitational system. So it's just a string of luck. We still had to learn language. We weren't even Homo erectus yet. I mean, it was just evolution. Eventually, once we started figuring things out, speech, writing, it just took time until we got to where we're at. And there are
But
some.
there was a huge jump in evolution.
There's been several subspecies of man found. You
Right,
know,
the Denisovians, I
yeah,
believe,
Denisovians,
and we just found that out. What else we don't know? We're gonna find out.
Neanderthal.
They not that long ago found a human, what seemed like a human footprint alongside a dinosaur footprint. We weren't supposed to be around back when the
Exactly.
dinosaurs were.
Exactly. We really don't know. We have our best guesses with our computers and science and tech right now. We have just the best guess of they were here first, we weren't there yet, but we really don't know.
Okay, Jillian has a question. So she said, okay, explain this, Melissa. How did Egyptians make their pyramids? They seem like they had equipment back there or something. And absolutely, because if anyone remembers back in high school, when we would learn how the Egyptians made their pyramids, it took every single one of them working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for years to build those pyramids, okay? And they took those bricks and they would have to transport them down a stream, and then from the stream transport them and put them on top of the other. That's not, I believe that there was some type of intervention, whether those pyramids were there already or there was some type of technology, because like I've said before, I believe those pyramids hold, I think it's probably a portal. I think
that's what I was about to say. You took it right out of my head. I was about to say that. It's a portal.
There's something as far as the magnetic, the energy, the frequency going on at those pyramids. And like I said before, the pyramids, the coordinates of the pyramids are the exact speed of light. There's many coincidences as far as the pyramids, like at a certain time of the night, it lines up perfectly and aligns with the stars and like the certain stars in the sky. I'll have to do a live specifically on that because I don't remember it off the top of my head, but there's definitely, it was impossible for the Egyptians to make that. They didn't even have standard tools back then. It was
Didn't Aleister Crowley like go in there and talk to someone, or even talk to him or something?
We always doubt our, I guess, ancestors. I mean, what makes you think we couldn't build it? I'm pretty sure we could build it. I'm sure that information was lost somehow, sometime it was lost, but obviously we did it. How we did it, we don't know. It aligned perfectly with certain stars. I mean, holy shit, that's what gets me.
How? We didn't know that technology back then. How would we, like, we were just figuring out that the stars in the sky were the same stars and were fixed positions, you know, like, and that, you know, like daytime and nighttime versus the sun in the sky and this and that. Like, to say that we were able to predict without any form of science or math or technology exactly the exact coordinates for where the stars would be at that exact time in the sky and line it up to a T. And it's the numbers that get you. I'll have to pull up the numbers to do it, because there's so many different exact numbers, like the distance away it is, where it lines up, how it compares to the speed of light and the whole universe and all together. That makes you the same thing with the moon. The moon is exactly, I don't remember the number. It's like 666.666 thousand miles away from the sun. And it's 666.666 thousand times smaller than the sun. But at a certain time each year, it lines up so perfectly that it makes the solar and lunar eclipse, where they both seem like they're one. There are things that it can't be coincidence.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't argue with you there. I mean, this is where I guess everything I believe kind of falls apart. Where I mean, there are, like, how I believe there are aliens, but we will never make contact. We will go about our lives and they will. But at the same time, how the hell our ancestors back then knew the exact coordinates and how to build it? I mean, and I'm gonna guess this in a short amount of time, in in human time, I guess they built it pretty quick, I'm guessing. But that's where everything falls apart. This is where I start to believe, okay, there must be some contact going on. You can't just explain this. As much as I try, there's no way for me to explain it, but I'm thinking this is where contact happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those pyramids are built. Actually, they're not even 4-sided. They're 8-sided pyramids. Yep. There's 8. They discovered that there were 8 sides to these pyramids, and that they were possibly once white in color when they were erected.
I think I've seen that before. I mean, just because the sands of time and like radiation of the sun, it kind of colored it to how it looks now.
There's also a scientist, or I think maybe a geologist or I don't know, Egyptologist, I guess, stated that I don't remember the man's name. It was sometime in the 1800s. He said that the Great Pyramid of Giza it represents the center of the earth, and there's an equal amount of space in both directions, east, west, north, and south.
Yep.
Away from the pyramid. The pyramid is
perfectly
built. It's perfectly placed in the center of the earth, so that there's equal distance east to west, from north to south. You understand what I'm saying?
Stone weighed more than an elephant, and we're supposed to believe man, because the stones were not where the pyramids were built. They had to travel with those stones. That's why I meant by down the stream, that we tried to put our best logical explanation of how they were able to do this based on what they had back then. But the stones weighed more than an elephant.
The precision in which they were built is astonishing. We couldn't build it today.
Aren't there chambers that we still haven't been able to get into?
Probably.
That are inside of there?
Probably, yeah.
There's a bunch of chambers. We still don't know what the interior. Well, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe there were giants back then, or no? Like the
I do.
says?
I do. I absolutely believe that. I believe it was the fallen angels.
Where those stones come together and they're so tight and they're so perfectly aligned that you can't even fit a razor blade between the stones.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
That's how refined the craftsmanship is.
Also, just to throw this out here, because you mentioned Astral, the origins of Area 51 started with him. There's a reason that they that's where that actual base is at. Aleister Crowley, actually, there's speculation and there's a little bit of evidence that he created a portal there, and he was the only one that had the knowledge to open and close the portal. And when he passed away, his minions, as I call them, continued his work, but they never could figure out how to close the portal at Area 51. So what Area 51,
they built the base around it?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Shaq, are you able to?
It's really, really interesting.
Are you
able
to explain how the pyramids are 8-sided?
Am I able to explain it?
Yeah.
Somebody had aerial footage, airplane flying over, and I don't remember who the man was, but he noticed that there were 8.
So if you look it up on Google,
8 sides.
okay,
That there were 4 sides.
You guys, look. Okay, so if you look at this aerial footage, it's not just 4 sides. It's not doing a good justice. If you Google it, you're able to see that there's actually 8 sides when you're looking down from the top of the pyramids.
Right. Yep.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Hey, Rachel.
Wow.
But the change is so subtle, you can't see it unless you're in the air. I mean, it's escaped us for how many 100 years now? Yeah, see.
So what is the purpose of that?
We don't know what the purpose of it was.
I mean, looking at it from standing outside, looking at it, it's a 4-sided object. 1, 2, 3, 4
I always
sides.
assumed it was.
Right.
Wow.
Most of us did, including myself, up until recently.
And what I told you guys, I said there are. Did you know that there were 3 pyramids on what's it called, in Antarctica? just the same
The
way that they
three
have in
pyramids.
America.
I think the
Mars?
three is astrological. I think
Yeah.
that
It's
I don't mean to jump
very,
all over everybody. The number three or the three pyramids. I think that's meant to pay homage to the stars, the three stars in Orion's belt.
and the pyramids are precisely aligned to true north. There's no way that they would have been able to determine exactly what true north was and align it with the stars perfectly.
There are other monuments that fall in line on those coordinates too, though, right? Not just the pyramids.
No, that must mean something. Pyramid-shaped stuff building from across the oceans, and they have a similar structure. That must mean something.
Well, think about it. Pyramids are everywhere. It's on our money. It's all over.
Well,
They had such a fascination with the sky and the gods and the stars, and I think everything they did and everything they built on Earth was a tribute to the stars, and the stars were where the gods were.
It's all about sun worship.
Yes, astrological worship.
This is where
everything was planned around that. Their crops.
It's not so much ancient knowledge. Like, that's what my entire point is. Whether they or someone else did have advanced knowledge, and just because that they had advanced knowledge doesn't mean that their technology would have been the same as our technology. The same way is that if we made contact with aliens, their technology is not going to be the same as our technology. So what's to say that they didn't have this understanding and they didn't have this knowledge, but they didn't use technology that the way we use technology?
Yeah. Well, if you're going to learn, to learn something like that, somebody has to show you. Somebody has to have the knowledge already.
That's where I was going. That's where I was getting at. These pyramids has been being built all over the world, and with our fascination and looking up at the sky and things like that, someone must have showed us or directed us on how to do these things.
Right.
There's gotta be. This is where I think there's some sort of creator or something.
Yeah, somebody more advanced that was here. I think man. Was far too primitive thinking back then to know about the stars and to know about angles and pointing structures north and true north, building pyramids.
Well, maybe
somebody has to show them. You have to be shown these things. You're not born knowing them. Exactly. Someone had this technology.
And maybe, what was I going to say now? Damn it. And maybe that's the time where, maybe that's our time where we reached, I guess, a leap in technology. I know nowadays we consider the leap in technology, but maybe back then was. Maybe the time of the pyramids where we learned to do all of that. That's where it started. That's the time of our technological advances compared to now with iPads, iPhones, and stuff.
Oh, with the ancient, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
if I'm making any sense.
No, it makes sense. It's hard to explain, but I understand.
Was far more advanced.
Yeah, tonight's a full
moon.
What
we are today.
The sucker's huge right where I live. Hieroglyphics include spaceships. Yeah.
There's lots of evidence of hieroglyphics depicting technology and things that should not have been available back then. And absolutely. Hey, now, we only use like 20% of our brain at all times. And that's what, like when they talk about LSD and certain drugs, that's because it activates certain portions of your brain that's not normally active, and you're able to tap in and to experience things. And who's to say you're hallucinating versus just tapping into different dimensions? Because we have confirmed that there are 21 dimensions right now, but we're only experiencing 3 of them. We're 3-dimensional beings. But just imagine what we could tap into if we had access to the rest of our brain.
If we could use 100% of our brain, we wouldn't even need a body.
We do use 100% of our brain. This is completely, we do use it. We just don't use it. We just don't use it 100% of the time. what we do is we retain information. If someone asks us a question, we look in our brain and we only look for the parts where we're looking for answers.
Right. I understand.
100% of our brain, that's been already debunked. It's just we don't use it 100% of the time.
Yeah, when you get in a car, you're not running the air conditioning and the heater at the same time. You only run the things when you need it.
Right, when you need to.
Okay, can I ask y'all a question? This is kind of this kind of falls in the same category, but a little different topic. It goes back to what Melissa asked about which conspiracies we believe are true. I personally believe that cloning exists. Do you think that they are cloning people?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I think they've been cloning.
I mean, you can't
that terrifies me.
Yes,
Oh,
it does.
for sure, yeah. You can't tell me we can clone certain animals and we can human body parts on the rats, and we can't clone humans. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're close, and we already done it multiple times.
Yeah, they're playing God. No.
Well, there is a company called Clonaid that, and a lot of the people, a lot of celebrities have come out and said that they've been cloned and they're
Canada,
part of
right?
Yes.
They're in Canada. It's in Canada.
Clonaid had actually come out, and you could watch this footage, and they said that they officially
What's it called?
Clonaid, and they have officially
sounds
cloned a human baby.
So cheap.
And they said that they were calling her Eve for now because they didn't want the family to come out. And then we just heard nothing about it ever since then. But they came out and admitted they had a press conference that they cloned a baby.
Clonaid. That just sounds so funny. It sounds ridiculous. Like Walmart or Kmart. Clonaid. Kool-Aid.
The name the name is cheap and generic. I thought so too.
Yeah. It's funny.
But it's based in Canada and it's real. Yeah.
Good night.
So I was just curious, so do you all think that we're advanced to the point where they walk amongst us? Like there's a lot of clones, like in Hollywood and stuff. You know how they say that, like Melissa just said, celebrities say that they're.
I mean, I've heard.
There's a theory that if a celebrity doesn't go with the narrative, they're replaced.
The Chinese just cloned a pair of macaque monkeys. They're in captivity. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that. And with monkeys being 90% of our genetics, I mean, we are darn close. If anything, we've done it before, but a well-kept secret. Just like Area 51. I mean, it's that type of level of security. I'm pretty sure whoever cloned stay in a lab and they don't leave 20 years or so.
I seen a program. I don't mean to take this thing all over the map, but this program I'd probably seen about 20 years ago, maybe, where they had they were able to grow human body parts. They were growing a human ear on a mouse using a mouse.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have you ever
I've seen that.
You remember that?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. They can grow human parts on rats, and it's actually
they were growing a human ear using the I don't know, maybe not the DNA, but I forget. Of course, I don't know. I'm not a scientist or anything, but they just planted these. They just started growing a human ear, and it was part of the mouse or the rat. It was growing on its back. It was part of its back, part of its tissue. Like my hand or my foot. It's on its back. It's a human ear that was growing on the back of a rodent.
Well, I've seen that picture, Shack. That was,
and it would have been harvested and transplanted onto a human, possibly. I don't know if it ever happened, but I remember seeing that years ago.
Yeah.
Well, would you want to be cloned if it was available and safe?
I don't know. I mean,
you mean like start from them being a baby or clone?
No, I mean
like how you are now.
Okay, let's just say you can clone yourself and you can pick a moment in time when you was a baby, 12 years old, whatever years old, or now, but not future.
Even if you're cloned, you're still a different individual, spiritually,
right.
intellectually, right?
Twins.
Are you though?
Right. You know what I mean? Like if somebody clones you,
Yeah, they can't create a soul.
and
That's
you
my thing.
died, you're gone, and your clone's still living. But you know what I mean? You're
They
not.
can look like you. They can have your voice. They can, but yeah, it's a different being.
It's a soulless vessel.
Right.
But
You're
you know, all it
you're
is though, this is all about ways to live eternally. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out a way to
Yeah.
What we were
Eternally.
talking about the other night is that energy is something that cannot be created nor destroyed. So if you want to start cloning people and start using these vessels, okay, but what about, and you could say the soul, but in regards to the soul, you're talking about energy because you can't just create it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just creating a vessel. You're not creating
Mhm.
the person.
Okay.
The
If you could create
spirit.
a clone of yourself to do your dirty work, I guess, would you do it? Meaning,
No, it creates
your
a paradox.
butler. He's your actual butler.
It creates a paradox, Irv, and it's the same thing with time traveling. Okay, well, I'm going to go back in time and I'm going to shoot my grandfather. But if I shoot and kill my grandfather, will I never exist? But you already exist in the future of that time. So it's this endless loop of a paradox that won't ever there's
It's
certain
one of those
laws
things that
defy.
that makes my brain fart. It's like almost what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of.
Which
Every time I get there, I come.
Thank you, Shaq, for even bringing that up, because the other day I was driving home, and as sad as it is, I really started mind fucking myself with, okay, but what really did come before, the chicken or the egg? And it's it's such a cheesy thing that we've heard so many times that maybe we don't put too much thought into it anymore. But in all seriousness, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
That's what this paradox idea gets me. It brings me right back to the beginning. I can't go. I can only go so far, and then I come back. I can't pass that threshold.
And just to touch on what Veronica said, as much science and as much research as we've done, and we've been able to account for, we don't understand everything with the human body, but we do understand a lot. But consciousness is one thing scientists can't explain. What is it? Because that's really the only thing that makes us different from everything else, is that we have consciousness. Consciousness is meaning we are aware of ourselves.
You can't measure it. You can't measure it.
Right. There's no way to determine, because if you made a clone, okay, and you replicated our body from top to bottom, but there's one thing you can't give it, and that's consciousness. And
right. You can't trade consciousness
because that comes from God.
Right.
Okay.
So even if you cloned yourself, you wouldn't be conscious in that body.
That's what I was saying about
just
a vessel, so it wouldn't create a time paradox.
It's like a twin.
Not necessarily. Your twin has a consciousness. Your clone doesn't. It's an empty vessel. I guess just does what you tell them to do.
I've heard, a lot of theories where they say that they make a lot of clones of, I'm going to use, for example, Britney Spears, because she's been the main one that they go on. I'm going far out here, guys. Just because I'm saying it doesn't mean I believe it. But
no, I believe that. I believe it.
But they say that they make clones of these famous people. And basically at nighttime, when these famous people go to sleep, because in order to trade for this fame and riches, it's like you're signing a deal with the devil, okay? And
you are.
At nighttime, I'm just going to use Britney Spears as an example. When she goes to sleep, her consciousness is actually slipped into the vessels of these clones. And at these cloning facilities, these high up people pay a lot of money to have sex with them and abuse them and stuff. So apparently they have figured out a way how to temporarily take your consciousness and put it into a different vessel.
But I don't know if they could do that, Melissa, because if they could do that, that would mean that you would live forever outside of God. You see what I'm saying? Would God actually allow that to happen? At that point, they have control over your soul.
We can figure out a way to transfer our consciousness to another vessel. Let's just say I come down with a terminal illness and somebody clones me. you know, right now I can't transfer my consciousness, my life experiences as to who I am, my spiritual fingerprint, if you will. I can't transfer that into my clone, but the moment that I can, if it ever happens, then that would mean we could possibly live forever.
Yeah, that's basically immortality. Anytime we're
right.
Because it's your vessel that dies.
Right.
It's your vessel that's immortal. But Jennifer Green, that I guess that kind of does tie in because astral projection is real, and there are many
real.
CIA reports that you could find online that have been leaked where they do these specific studies. And like I said, that one time they will do these experiments where they will take a person and put them in like a bedroom, okay? And outside of the bedroom, they will write in an envelope, in a sealed envelope, a word or a number, and they will seal it and put it outside of that bedroom. And they do this study to where these people are able to astral project, which means you are able to leave your physical body and travel with your soul, with your energy. And they are able to then come back and tell them exactly what was written on that note, because they were able to travel and astral project, open that envelope and reveal what was written in it. And this all happens, this is all going on. The same thing with, they'll have these mediums come in and they'll give them a time, a date, and a place. It could be Mars 2055, like at this time, and they'll have them go there, tell them what's going on around them, beings that they see, any communication that they have, and report back to them. They do the same thing with wars. They'll say what's going on in Russia at this place at this time, and they'll come back. And this stuff is real. You want to think it's magic and make believe? Yeah, there's a lot of frauds out there, but this stuff we're taught to suppress it from day one, to not utilize these abilities that we have. And that's why some people are more prevalent, and that's why they're able to tap into their abilities. But who knows what we're capable of doing if we've been, if we only were given the opportunity to try to learn what we're capable of doing.
Well, there's several.
I mean, those studies could mean, 1 out of 20,000 people that got it right. I mean,
yes,
he still got it right.
Remote viewing. Sorry, Ontario said it exactly right. Declassified CIA files on remote viewing show some crazy stuff. Remote viewers have seen Mars 1 million years ago, and that's what I meant by they asked this specific person, this is a specific case, to view what Mars looked like millions of years ago. And when they went there, Mars was an Earth-like planet. There were beings walked around, and they said that when they were able to astral project there, that the beings were aware of them. They were able to see them, even though they weren't physically there. And they came back and gave this. Now, if you think this is so crazy, why are they doing?
They were able to detect their consciousness.
They were able to detect them. They said, because they're talking out loud while they're doing this, and they said, "This is what I see. This, I see this, and I see beings, and oh my God, they're aware of me. They know I'm here." Like, it's crazy.
Well, there's several testimonies you can find online of people who delve in like black
dropped out
magic that astral project from black magic. Like, did it go out?
You're okay.
You're all right now.
Okay.
Since no one's talking,
Ontario.
I want to see those studies. I mean, I do believe.
I'm gonna bring them up one live.
I want to see how many people out of how many times and how often and how accurate they got it right. And with the whole going to Mars thing, how can we confirm that? Oh yeah, it's actually there. With the envelope, we can confirm it.
Okay, right.
They're telling the truth. What if
about the Mars thing? I mean, how do we know? How do we know that? I mean, how credible is that?
Exactly.
I mean, how do we know what Mars looked like 1 million years ago?
There's no way for us.
How credible are these studies?
Yeah.
How do we know that this time that person got it right? With the letter, that's more possible. We can.
Yeah, I mean, if you're paying me $1,000 for a study,
I'll tell them
no.
Yeah, there was a White Castle on Mars back in the day.
This is the CIA, okay? So they didn't just bring anybody in, Okay, they would be bringing people in, and they would do study after study after study and eliminate this person and that person. This person's a fraud, until they had the people who were legitimate time and time and time after again on studies like the envelope and astral projecting. And it was only then that they would use these people to try to then see, and they would do more than this. Ready? So they would practice on now time. Basically, they would have other CIA agents on a different side of the world doing something at a specific location, and they would have these subjects tell them exactly what was going on. It's only after they've been able to confirm that they were right that then they ask these questions about what's going on in Mars and what's going on this. Yes, obviously there's no way to confirm that.
So weed out all the yahoos.
We were already able to confirm that they were correct on so many other scenarios.
Well, I really would like to see that as well.
I would like to see it. I would like to see participants study the.
Yes, I'm sorry. Ontario knows exactly what I'm talking about. What video was it, Ontario, that we watched? Because she's talking about that exact guy. It was this one guy who they had heard about him and they sought him out. And that's exactly what they would do, is that they would give him a sealed envelope and said, go there. And that's exactly what he would do. And he would be able to report back exactly what would be going on, but not just like in now time, like at different times.
Wow. Well, wouldn't that create a time paradox itself?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Not really, because time is all relative. So you got to stop.
Here's where it goes wrong. If you could see the past or future and you tell your present now, that creates a whole new paradox.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't really create a paradox, because time is a man-made thing. You got to stop looking at time as a linear. Time is not linear. Time, there's time. Time is also occurring on top. Time is also occurring in bottom.
He's talking about the butterfly effect, where by knowing those events creates
everything.
Creates the paradox.
That's where it brings in the whole thing about parallel universes. That so now you just made a ripple in our timeline, but during another timeline that ripple didn't occur. But as soon as a new ripple happens, it keeps branching off. So here comes our timeline, and you made a ripple. Now our timeline branches out into 2, and now along this timeline and this timeline, it may branch off into another 4. Like, time is not linear.
It would create an actual collapse.
Not necessarily, no.
You keep branching out of time and not expect it to bite back.
No, absolutely. But it may. But who's to say another parallel universe didn't collapse? Who's to say something didn't backfire? Apparently, scientists prove the most plausible theory right now is that we live in a multiverse, where universes are all happening all around us simultaneously, where every decision you have ever made, every choice. So if I decide to turn off this panel right now and go to bed, well, in another universe, I decide to stay on and continue the panel. Every choice you have ever made is happening simultaneously, infinite amount of times. And
it wouldn't crash because it's all happening in separate universes. But if you cause a ripple in our universe, wouldn't that collapse everything?
Okay, that's hard to comprehend.
Okay, like me, I forgot what.
No, because what I'm doing in this universe does not affect what's happening with me in another universe. My biggest question is, well, okay, I'm conscious in this universe. Why am I not conscious in another universe, or am I? And that's where deja vu comes in, where I feel like I've been here.
I was just going to ask about deja vu.
And is that because we're all simultaneously conscious beings in other universes? We're just not aware of each other's presence.
Wow, I have that all the time, several times a day.
I get it too. Not all the time, but
yes, Ontario, and that's why a black hole. If you go into a black hole, time ceases to exist in a black hole. Okay, so if you got sucked down into a black hole, let's just say hypothetically, you wouldn't survive. But if you did, you would be stretched out so long, okay, that it would break you down molecule by molecule, quark by quark.
Atomic. Yeah.
And by the time your foot got into the middle, your body would still be out. But time does not exist inside of a black hole. Like, try to grasp that mentally.
Yeah.
Time
so
ceases to exist.
It doesn't even let light out.
It does.
Light
it
can't
just
escape.
Doesn't exist. Like, and I tried so long and hard to try to
Right.
understand what does that
It's
mean.
a void.
Time
It's a nothing.
ceases to exist, but it's nothingness. It just stops.
Right.
Everything
That's
stops.
Would
fascinating.
that be some sort of portal, though? I mean, in like
Well,
some
that's
sort
to
of,
say if you could get out to the other side.
right in love.
But maybe you're not meant to.
What
But
goes
it
in
maybe
must
it is a
come out.
portal.
You know, what goes in must come out. So it has to go somewhere.
Exactly.
Well,
I
there's
agree.
a difference. Are you talking about a wormhole or a
in
black
our-
hole? Because
in
every
your
star is perfectly
conceptual-
on a black hole.
The way
Wormhole
you
is
think-
the black hole is about the same thing because it goes in, it has to go somewhere.
No, we don't know
No.
what a black hole is.
The black hole has a different
Yeah, a
set
black
of laws.
hole. Yeah, a black
You know,
hole.
what goes up,
own
like what
set of
goes up
laws.
must come down. That doesn't apply in a black
Just
hole.
because those physics and those laws
Don't apply.
are here does
They're
not
different.
mean they apply elsewhere.
Right.
Another
what
planet could have
happens
a whole nother law of physics and science, and that has nothing. But a black hole is not the same as a wormhole or even a white hole. A wormhole is, yes, if you go through it, you're going to lead, and it's going to lead somewhere out the other side. It's where you could jump through time and space. A black hole, we don't know what's through it. All we know is that time ceases to exist.
So
Theoretically, yeah.
where this goes, where they say energy doesn't dissipate, it transfers. So everything that goes in there is an energy source. Energy can't be destroyed; it can only be transferred. So it has to go somewhere.
Well, that's us for what we know. That's
the
as far
laws
as
we
our
abide
science
by.
tells us. But again, a black hole is an entirely different animal. It
There's
has
a
a different
whole
set of
nother-
laws.
So here's the thing: like we have
Whatever
our own,
applies to us here doesn't. You know,
and
our
that's what
theories don't apply.
Einstein and what's his name, Stephen Hawking's always had a struggle with, is because we're trying to understand outer space and all of these things based on our set of laws here.
Right.
And what we need to understand is what our laws here and physics and what makes sense here, because these are scientific laws. You know, these are things that our universe, our knowing of it, can't ever break. But who's to say that anywhere else in space or any other planet in different galaxies, those abide by our same set of laws? Because that's where they were struggling. They were trying to make sense of things like black holes and wormholes, but keeping it restricted to our set of laws. And they realized they can't continue to do that because we don't know. You know, we have no idea what it is out there.
With saying we don't know, why is it that we're so, I guess, in all agreement that wormholes are a place to travel, but yet black holes isn't? I mean,
Those are just theories.
These
Everything
are
we're
these are
discussing
really
theories.
just theories.
Nothing's ever been proven.
But we're
Let me-
creating black holes at CERN right now. Black holes which could suck us in and destroy us in the blink of an eye. Okay, black holes are very
my
dangerous.
theory, what I'm trying to say is,
Theoretically.
my theory more incorrect and
Yes,
invalid than yours.
exactly, Ontario. Okay, so in order for them to make black holes even work, they
Yes, back
had
to the
to
theory.
take and to add dark matter and dark energy, which technically makes up more of the universe than matter itself. Dark matter and dark energy is matter and energy that we cannot physically see, but we need to take an account for why it's there. The same way that we look at the planets and how we're all aligned, yet the gravity doesn't make sense. Technically, there's a ninth planet out there larger than Jupiter that we have to take account for, just because the gravity, something is pulling. The gravity pull in that direction is the only thing that we can make sense of. Why? Because even if you change any source of gravity with our planets, we would all be like sucked in. So they accounted for dark matter and dark energy, which makes up more of the universe than actual matter and energy does. But we don't know what it is. All we know is that there's more of it than there is actual matter in the universe.
It's really
So,
dangerous what they're doing at
Isn't it
CERN.
the same as
Mhm.
a wormhole? It seems like we're all in agreement for the wormhole theory, but black hole theory isn't.
Well, we're doing, you know, like the only thing we can do is theorize and take the best brilliant minds that we have at this point. And okay, they weren't wrong about much, you know, like I don't know. I don't know. All I started
we
off with
were-
was watching a bunch of Through the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman's voice doing
It's
it.
true what you said. I mean,
Right?
we weren't off by much, but when we were off, we were way off. Just remember, Einstein was called an idiot. Einstein
But
high
he
school
wasn't?
dropout.
Excuse me?
He didn't graduate from high school.
No, but in the scientific world, before he was renowned,
Yes, I
his-
loved Earth, the Event Horizon.
he was technically an idiot. That's what they were calling him, as an idiot, and we got that way wrong. We were
Well,
way
I
off.
didn't call him an idiot. So.
Well, yeah, of course.
Can I just say Ontario is brilliant?
Yeah,
You're so
I-
It
brilliant.
would have been
Honestly,
maybe
I-
Einstein was one of those what do they call it, idiot savants, where they're socially or awkward. They can't,
He has Asperger's.
like, kind of a Rain Man kind of
most
individual.
brilliant people have social disorders and very awkward and
But
social.
I'm saying back, 100 years ago, they were quick to call him stupid or
Right, because they didn't have any knowledge or scientific
Any
reason
knowledge,
to
but,
understand the difference.
we're always quick to label something that we don't understand.
right.
Exactly. Well
that's-
said.
What if we have a scientist right now, saying some nonsense, and we're gonna be lizards with 4 legs, and we're like, this guy's an idiot. Come to find out, it's true. Now that would suck.
Good night, Lynn. But yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. CERN right now has the Hydro Collider, and they are creating little tiny black holes. And I don't think people understand how serious this is to fuck with. You shouldn't
Yeah.
fuck with the universe like this. We are not made to create black holes, and I
I
don't
agree.
think people understand how wrong this could go. If a black hole in itself could suck our entire galaxy in and make it implode like that, okay? So for them to be creating unnatural black holes, it is insanely dangerous.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
There's
they're-
already horror stories that come out of there. We've
Yeah,
already heard several.
They're
different
pushing
things.
they're
we're playing
throwing atoms together at the speed of light,
Yeah,
hoping
we're
one of them will
shooting them together and colliding them.
Yeah.
at near the speed of light.
It took me so long to comprehend that. Like, maybe I'm just slow, but I had to. I seriously had to study that for so long to understand what they were doing.
Have you
No,
ever
it's
seen?
been forever.
Have you ever seen? I think I showed you, Melissa, the channel I sent you, the opening ceremony for CERN, the Hadron Collider.
Oh, I
Have
think
you,
so.
have,
Yeah.
have you ever seen the opening ceremonies?
Yes,
How crazy they were.
I did. It was
Weird.
yeah.
No, the Olympics
now explain that.
the
Why?
Olympics have an opening. The Olympics have an opening ceremony every 4 years or whatever. They'll bring out singers and dancers and
Mhm.
whatever, and they put on this show that lasts for hours. Well, that's the same thing CERN did when they unveiled. They did their ribbon cutting, I guess, for the collider, the Hadron Collider. They had this giant. They had all these corporate suit and ties there from all and politicians and dignitaries and people from all over the world were in Switzerland, and they put on this big show. And the show, you'd have to see it, but it consisted of like demonic figures and monsters and
they were
occult-
mocking God.
Right.
Mhm.
You have to see it. It's very weird, to say the least.
Did you see the video that was leaked out of there where they were doing their midnight ceremony? They were dancing around the goddess Shiva, or was it Shiva that the 3-armed Hindu goddess?
Yeah, Shiva.
That looked like
they were dancing
something.
around the goddess Shiva at like midnight
Yeah, supposedly that was a hoax, but yeah, I understand.
in hooded robes, and at first they just kind of let it rub off as and they denied it at first, but like it basically went viral, and they had to admit that they were out there doing that because obviously it was on film.
Yeah.
Like what? And what about that video that come out? I think it was like a music video they made, all of the scientists.
I don't know. The
They were
CERN
all
stuff.
in suits.
There's a channel, and I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'm sure somebody here has, but it's called The Rabbit Hole. And
You
it's a
told me
man.
about that. Yep.
Yeah, The Rabbit Hole. It's a guy that dresses up in a rabbit costume, and he sits in front of his what appears to be like a shelves full of like canned food and the American flag in the back. But he sits there and he's got this rabbit costume on, and he talks about all these crazy things that are going on in the world. And he's made several videos.
Well, look at Alex Jones. You know, like,
but it's called,
he was crazy. Sorry,
it's called the rabbit hole. And when you click on it, and you click on one of his videos, he's got a deep voice. He started, greetings YouTube, and welcome to the rabbit hole. That's how you know. And when you see him in this rabbit costume, his mouth doesn't move, but as he's narrating the video, he gestures with his hands as if he's talking, but his mouth isn't moving because he's a rabbit costume. You got to see it.
Wow.
Look at Alex Jones. Everyone thought Alex Jones was crazy until he actually exposed Bohemian Grove. This elite group of all these officials officials coming together, making fake sacrifices of children to the burning gods, and it would be all these literally these male officials. They would all have sex together and shit like that.
Yeah, mole
rituals.
Oh, you're talking about Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove, yeah.
Moloch worship.
That's Northern California.
Good. He's a good guy to uncover things, but at the same time, he has to kind of pick and choose what he'll say and uncover, because we do believe.
He's far out there, but
right. But
it
would be nice if he would just stick, like the conspiracy parts of it. But at the same time, he talks about the reptilians and stuff, and that's where he starts to discredit himself. And sucks.
Here's my theory on that, Irvin.
He ruined his career. He ruined himself. His divorce. Right. And when he went in on Sandy Hook, that's when everybody turned on.
Yeah, that's when he had a downfalling. But I think that if you realize even one thing is true, okay, if you realize that there are aliens, okay, and there are some kind of communication going on, and you get evidence of that, okay, now wouldn't you start to question everything? So what I think happened is he was right about a lot of things, and some things are true, but then you start to tumble out of control of, well, what isn't true at this point? And you start believing even far out things, which makes you seem less credible. But that's why I love watching the Joe Rogan podcast and listening to him talking to Alex Jones, because Joe Rogan is a very unbiased person. He's willing to be open and listen to anything. And he even agrees, where Alex comes, and he'll say certain things and he'll differentiate what he's willing to believe and what is far out there and bullshit. And that's the same thing I say. Just because I'm mentioning these theories doesn't necessarily, I think, Britney Spears' consciousness leaves and goes. I'm telling you the theories. I believe some things, but then there's the whole other side of it where you could go deep into it. But I
like Joe Rogan, but I worry that Joe Rogan's credibility is going to change because he's gone corporate. He made
the mistake and he admitted that.
What do you mean?
Well, my theory on Alex Jones is Jones.
He signed $100 million contract. So
I was kind of sad when he did that too. I thought it was a mistake. But my theory on Alex Jones is he's
Star Wars agent. You said something about the dinosaurs. It was made up, and so is the pyramids, and you said we aren't related to apes. Some humans are, but I'd love to hear your theory, but go on, Britt.
So I was just going to say with Alex Jones, I appreciate him for the things that he woke me up to, but I feel like he's a bit of a gatekeeper. He's put into position to tell you some truthful things and then throw in a bunch of bullshit with those truthful things to veer you off track. That's just my opinion. I think he's good for someone who hasn't woken up yet, but once you wake up and you start seeing, that you've been lied to, it's time to move on to something else.
Yeah. And exactly, Ontario. We can't see radio waves. There's a whole gigantic world of things outside our visual spectrum. And that's what I meant by, there are currently verified 21 different dimensions happening around us right now, but we are 3-dimensional beings. And so we aren't able to tap into anything. We assume that the 4th dimension is space, time, but that still leaves 17, 18 other dimensions currently going on that who's to say that the ghosts and the spirits and all the, like when you see a UFO flying and then all of a sudden it vanishes and then it comes in and out of existence, it seems like, who's to say that it's not coming in and out of the third dimension? So it's happening right now in different dimensions, and it's just coming in out of
interdimensional travel.
Right, interdimensional travel. But things are happening right now all around us, and we are just three-dimensional beings trying to go into the fourth dimension, but there are things way beyond our understanding.
That's true. I mean, look, as simple as the wind. We can't see it, but we know it's here.
Exactly.
We know the effects of it.
See, what was that?
The wind.
I agree that
the
Star
wind.
Wars agent.
Just
I
like the-
agree that.
Think the people from millions of years ago are dumb and stupid. Guess what? They're smarter than.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I
agree
was
with that.
talking about, as
I
far
think
as
so.
there was a previous ancient civilization that was way more advanced than we were, whether you want to call it Atlantis or whatever, but we are most likely getting our technology either from alien species or a previous advanced civilization, or both. And that's what I think is going on underneath the ice of Antarctica. I think that is why we have a treaty signed with 50 countries of why this is a no-fly zone. No, we're not allowed to habitate. Why, out of all the wars we go to, is Antarctica the one place that we have a signed treaty with everyone that we cannot stay there, we cannot habitate there, we cannot fly there. You will be shot down and killed if you even try. Okay? Something's going on in Antarctica.
Can I just say that treaty was signed the same time that Area 51 was created? I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, I didn't
And
know that.
after Hitler sent his Nazis, like Nazis over there, and after we signed those Nazis on to come work for us at NASA.
So the U.S. signed a treaty too.
Yeah.
Yes,
50
50 countries signed a
Well,
treaty.
they'll break it. They've broken every treaty they've ever made.
But
Yes.
not
I
this
know, right?
one.
Ask the Indians.
Why? And why do all the most elite officials go and take a trip to Antarctica?
I think they go there and get orders. I think they go and take their orders from there.
And
They're
I think that
instructed.
they're getting tapped into and being shown about something that is going on. A lot of people speculate that underneath Antarctica there is technology that you couldn't imagine, and it was flash frozen, which means like everything, like if our Earth froze right now as it is, and then all of a sudden, Earth started over, and then we would have to go through all of that. Eventually, when people got smart enough, they would come in and see what these computers are. And we're like, well, what are these computers? There's technology going on underneath Antarctica. And
that was frozen.
That was flash frozen. And that's the same reason I say go onto Google Earth and start looking at the images of the ice. The ice is melting in Antarctica, and things are being revealed. I told you, in nature, there is no thing as a straight line nor a 90-degree angle. And there are obvious things that are being unearthed. Now, some say that, well, these are advanced ships that we as humans have gotten our hands on. They weren't our original technology, but we just throw them off all there, so there's no evidence. Or some people say that, no, this is the evidence of the advanced civilization, and things are just melting because that's what it is, and they're being exposed.
Did you guys hear what happened to Buzz Aldrin when he went?
Yeah, he got
remember that,
in the
Melissa?
hospital. Yeah.
He was what?
What did Buzz
G20.
Aldrin? He took a trip, and that he had to be what was he like? Flown to a special hospital, and then he tweeted out something like, if the world knew what type of danger we were actually in, everybody would be freaking out. It was something like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
He seen something that terrorized him. That
Oh,
tweet was deleted, but people
so
saved
did
it.
Neil Armstrong. Did you realize Neil Armstrong was hush hush? He's never given an interview. Even if you watch the interview of when the three of them came back from space after the moon landing, it's a very awkward interview. You would think that these three men came back and they were heroes. They were heroes. They went to the moon and they came back and they survived. And it's this interview of them, and they all look like they saw something that they couldn't believe, and they were told to shut up. Watch this.
None of them would smile.
I'm reading Buzz Aldrin's tweet, and it's from 2016. And it just, I don't know how to take it either. It says, we're
That's
all
in
in.
Ontario.
What's that?
Sorry. No, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
it says
I'm trying to
we're all in danger. It is evil. It is evil itself. A dire warning that humanity was in danger from evil itself in Antarctica. This
Yes.
was in 2016. Now,
See, and
I mean, did he blow it? This was in 2016, but did he blow it off as like a joke? Because that's
He
what
never-
I feel. That's what I feel like they would try to say. Like, oh, he was just kidding.
Shaq, I don't think that he ever addressed that tweet. Ever.
Well, then they'll say he got hacked. Someone hacked
Probably.
Buzz Aldrin's.
There's so
You know,
many
they got his password.
There's so many ways they can, discredit him. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, what about Richard Byrd? Richard Byrd,
Oh, I love
was
that.
a German explorer, and he swore he flew into. There's an inner world. He swears that there's and this is General Admiral Byrd. He said that there's an inner Earth, and a lot of people do believe that there. Hey, Socket. Hey, Amanda. That they believe that there is an inner Earth, and when he went to Antarctica, he flew inside, and inside of Earth, there's flowing water, there is greenery, and there's a whole existence of people living there.
That's very possible. There's already places in Vietnam where it actually exists. They can show you. They know the path where it is. I forgot what that place is called, but it's like Earth inside the Earth.
Yes,
So,
it's Earth inside the Earth.
Shambhala. Some people call it Shambhala.
Something.
Nelly dropped off. Nelly, if you want to come back up, you're more than welcome to.
Admiral Byrd actually said that there is a landmass that's as large as the United States that no human has ever ventured on.
Yes.
Well,
yes, he did.
I don't know.
Where's it at?
Yeah.
He says that's in in the South Pole, I think.
Yeah. Because he's done many flights. He flew to the pole and back in 18 hours and 41 minutes. What was it called? Let me see. He was a U.S. naval officer, pioneer aviator, and polar explorer, best known for his explorations of Antarctica using airplanes and other modern technical resources. And that gets you into Operation High Jump.
Yes, and you can read his diary entries.
Antarctica is twice the size of Australia.
I'm not talking about that type of technology, Star Wars agent.
I'm just reading up here.
Yeah,
98% of Antarctica. Go ahead.
Okay, Nelly. It was so nice to have
I'm
you.
sorry, Shaq.
No, it's okay. We got a delay, so it happens. But go ahead.
I was just going to say really quick that his diary entries are fascinating. If anybody who's listening has never heard of him,
yes.
I highly suggest it.
What's his name again?
General Admiral Byrd. Okay.
Oh, Admiral Byrd. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of his diaries released, and it talks about this whole inner world and the creatures he saw in there, and the people, and what it was like. And he's a really credible person, but it's just fascinating, and it would make sense of why Antarctica is a no-go zone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah, it's every time they find something, they want to hide it from the rest of us.
Oh yeah.
They want to It's about control. It's not about money. It's about power and control.
Right.
To control
100%.
They have all the money they need. They own the printing presses. They want to control people. They want to control everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
You get it's all happening at once, meaning that whole Earth inside of Earth, while Area 51 is happening, while the pyramid thing is going on, and what else is going on with cloning. You think all of that is happening?
You cut off at the last second. What'd you ask? Do you think all of that is happening?
Yeah, do you think all of that is happening right now at once? The grays.
I believe it.
I think it happened gradually over time, certain things. But if you're going to ask, like to a person who didn't know any of this, did this all happen to an extent? I don't know to what extent the cloning is going on. I don't know if there's people cloned, but absolutely, I think that they have accomplished cloning and they have done many experiments on it. Do I think an inner world exists? or there's something going on in Antarctica. I don't know what's going on, but I absolutely do believe something's going on in Antarctica. Do you want to say that aliens created the pyramids and this, that? I'm not saying that. All I know is that it's very fascinating what, the exact specifics of Egypt.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answers are. All I know is that I have questions, as Amanda would say. I have questions.
I have questions.
Yes, I have questions because there's something going on,
I will never believe that human hands created that pyramid or those pyramids ever.
Well,
I
Star Wars
think-
agent, that's a funny thing to say because they actually claim that everything we even see is a hallucination. Like everything, like the fact that we even have sight and this earth and all the buildings and our bed is actually all just a projection from our mind, and everything it's like basically a shared hallucination between all of us.
I don't believe that. I don't know about
Does that have to do with the theory that we're in a virtual, or we're in a
Oh hell!
Don't know Elon Musk.
Oh yeah,
a simulated reality?
simulation theory.
Don't get all Elon on me.
I don't
Do
think
you
so.
guys believe we are in a simulation?
No, definitely.
No.
No.
I don't. No, I don't believe that.
I mean,
Okay, let's say we are. I mean, who created the simulation, and what is the end game for that?
No, I don't know.
how do you know we don't?
There's
think
that chicken and the egg thing again.
How do you, like if we're playing devil's advocate here, and that's all really I do on my page when I talk about these theories and stuff. I don't want anyone to think I'm crazy and like I believe all this stuff. I just like talking about it and discussing it. But if this was a simulation, who's to say we ourselves as humanity didn't create it? Because look at the way technology is evolving as of now. We are now able to do these virtual, like 4D experiences with our games. So it's becoming so indistinguishable from reality. You don't know what's real and what's not. So how do you know that future us have already gotten to that point in technology and we are just a simulation being run in some 7-year-old kid's basement right now on his computer? Because if you want to talk about glitches in reality, I could pull up a bunch of crazy, eerie coincidences and glitches in reality that is happening right now.
So you're saying that you think that we're possibly a video game, or that we are being observed
It's not
from
so
somebody?
much a video game.
Well, not a video game, but
impossible. It's not impossible.
Sorry, Irvin, what'd you say?
It's not impossible.
brain hurts.
I just think it's improbable.
Yeah, I
We're in a
agree.
simulation. It's not impossible.
Well, the way Elon Musk explains it is with the current rate of how technology is evolving, at a certain point, virtual reality will become so good that it will become indistinguishable from reality. So
That's what they want us to. Yes.
Well, no,
it's-
it kind of is true. So to eliminate the chances that we are in a simulation, you can't do that because it would be so indistinguishable that you would believe that you're really living in it. So you can't eliminate the chances that actually is happening.
Because they want us to walk around with a chip in our brain or these helmets on our head that puts us in this alternate reality while the world around us is collapsing. I mean, there's movies about
Sorry,
that.
off topic, but Amanda. Sorry, Amanda. I'm sorry, off topic, but she said, I wish pain was simulated. Actually, physical pain is not actually real. And there's a medical condition where people cannot feel physical pain. It's PIPA. What happens is pain is a signal from our biology to tell us hot, cold.
Yep.
This can be careful. So our own biology can actually disable that electrical signal going to our brain does not exist. It's an alarm signal. And pain
I heard
is
you, Irvin. You're breaking
I'm not
up a
sure how to
bit.
explain this.
Rosa, I agree with you on the Truman
where was
Show.
I?
Absolutely.
You were saying how it's a signal
Well-
from your body to your brain.
Right. Yes. It's a signal from our brain and
Then you said hot and cold.
people who have. Yeah, it's
You're
just telling
breaking up
you.
really bad, Irvin. You're breaking up
hot
really
is-
bad.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear?
That's okay.
You're breaking up
Testing,
bad, but
1,
I
2,
know
3.
what you're saying. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Testing. Oh
Much
man, I'm
better.
so sorry.
Stand on your roof.
All right. Well, what I was saying. Okay. Well, basically, physical pain does not exist.
You're absolutely right. There are people who are born, and it's very dangerous, who,
Yeah.
like don't have pain
Not a
signals.
good
You
thing.
could do, no, this little girl ended up scratching her eyes out and stuff like this because she never got the sensation of, ouch, it hurts. So it is a signal from, your nervous system, your bodies, your muscles to your brain saying, ouch, stop, that hurts. And if you're not making that signal connection, you wouldn't know any better. And it's very dangerous. And they actually had a Grey's Anatomy episode on this once, for anyone who that's too deep, where they tested this girl's pain level by putting her hand in a bowl of ice water, and she was, challenging one of the doctors to see who could keep it in the longest, and she was able to keep it in so long because she wasn't getting those signals to her brain to say, pull it out.
Right. And it's
Yeah,
not just
I personally knew someone with that disorder.
And it's not just in medical condition terms. They have actual, I guess, concoction of pills or whatnot. They can actually increase or decrease your pain signals. They use this a lot for, I'm not sure, I think frostbite people, just so they can get their feeling back. They increase a lot of.
So perhaps pain is an instinctive or built-in survival mechanism.
Yes. And now, and there's some people who say pain is pleasure. Some people can actually turn it around and use pain as pleasure. I'm not sure. There's this people who give birth, but they do it in such ecstasy that it doesn't hurt. They learn to.
Well, you could mentally,
it manifests into something else for them then.
Yeah, and they also have what science, some scientists say redheads, I think, or Irish people have like a very high tolerance.
Yes, Irvin, I read that just the other day.
Yeah,
they have a scary high tolerance to pain.
Like scary high tolerance to pain, and it's not just a few levels above. It is trippy.
Not at all, Ontario. I am so happy that
Ontario,
you have been
bright.
dropping the truth bombs, and I love it. And I absolutely look forward to having you, in the chats in the future.
Come up, Ontario.
You are very smart.
You're
absolutely
smart is not uncool.
Yeah, you're absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely.
You make me feel. You make me feel
I know.
stupid.
I feel like a 4-year-old up here.
Exactly.
Hi, Gina.
Hi, Gina.
I see Gina.
Jillian.
My kidney stones had me on the floor.
Oh, my gallstones. I suffered through it for many years.
I was crying, screaming.
Yep.
That's all. It hurts bad. Go ahead.
I heard that's like the closest
yes.
a man can feel to labor.
I believe it.
Oh, fun fact, Amanda. Oxytocin is released during childbirth. It is only ever released during childbirth, cold water swimming, and orgasm.
Cold water swimming and orgasms.
Thank you, Amanda, for that fun fact.
That's weird.
There is actually a medical procedure where they can go in and block whatever the receptor is in your brain that sends a signal to your body that it's in pain. They block that, and you no longer feel pain for patients who have chronic pain disorders.
Yeah, your pain receptors are.
Well, that's why they do the experiments, where if you play video games, when you're extreme pain, your mind is able to get off of it. Same thing with sex.
That's crazy.
Well, you shouldn't be shy, Ontario. If you have that kind of knowledge, like I expect you up on panels in the future.
Yeah.
Like, please, because
Yes.
not many people know about this stuff, and I'm
You
open
got-
to all
you're like,
viewpoints.
You got like Hawking intelligence.
You really do.
Yeah.
Is it also released during breastfeeding? I'm not sure, Amanda. Is it released during breastfeeding?
A certain hormone is released during breastfeeding for women. It's supposed to be, and I think it is oxytocin.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, I gotta get it. Like, when we plan out the lies, I would love to be able to like get up all of like the CIA documents and stuff that talks about you know, like what's the word again, where they're able to, not astral projection, but come on, Antara, you're gonna drop it for me. It's the R word.
The astral projection stuff.
My brain's not working right now. But you know, like where they're able to determine and what's going on at a different place at a different time, and to have all of, you know, like the Operation High Jump, the Project Stargate, you know, Project Blue Book, all of these things, so we could go through them together and really read it and understand what that means. Because if that was going on and that's what the CIA got either leaked or released, and that was many, many years ago, you could only imagine what's actually going on today and that we don't know about. Remote viewing, thank you. I was like, like my brain just stops working.
I mean, by now, I'm pretty sure they perfected this technique by now. I mean, if they could do that back then, imagine now.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not even like that was a big mind-blowing thing. That's a little tiny blimp out of what the CIA is doing, you know, like
I really hope we can get into MKUltra too, Melissa, and the origins of that.
Dude, they were drugging like they were unknowing participants, and they were giving them LSD. And one man, there's actually an amazing show on Netflix that covered this. And this guy, CIA, like this agent, jumped off of the building because he was drugged and not knowing he was drugged, and they covered it up and everything. I'll have to remember what the name of it is, but it was so good.
Are you talking about the guy that was pushed out of the window?
No,
yes, he was pushed or jumped.
6-story window, yeah, because he was going to spill the beans.
Yep,
you know, they said Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was part of LSD experiment at Harvard or something.
Yeah. See, I think it's such an important topic to talk about because we're all victims of that, you know?
Right.
We've been victims of mind control since birth.
They perfected the technology where they show you a certain commercial and now we're programmed, you know?
Oh, subliminal messages. Absolutely. I mean, put it this way. Back when you used to go to the movie theater, they would do little snippets of Coca-Cola or popcorn. It goes so fast that you don't even realize it was playing, but they do that. So during the movie, subliminal messages would go in that goes, I feel like having popcorn. I feel like having a Coke, and you'll go and buy it. They've been doing this to us for a long, long time.
That's product placement in the movies.
Yep.
Yes.
I was in this case, the Maya Miletti case, where the ex-boyfriend was like a total controlling freak. He actually ordered something where as subliminals, put it under the wife's bed to like keep her under control. That crazy.
Talk about being obsessed, right? My God.
They called it subliminals. They found the subliminals, is what the police report says. Jesus.
Cool.
I was actually telling Melissa the other day, like almost everyone I've ever talked to who had their wake up moment was 9/11. Like 9/11. Well, Disney movies was mine. The subliminal messaging in Disney movies.
Yeah. Okay. There's a big dick on Little Mermaid's castle that used to be on the right on the front of the movie. Or how about the fireflies in The Lion King spelled out sex? Like they have a bunch of shit.
Or like on the lion's face on the movie cover of The Lion King, it's a woman's like backside in a bikini. Yeah.
Now, what would they want with this? They put all these subliminals out. They must have a reason too.
Yeah, they have a reason. They want to control our minds and control they want to keep us sheep. And that's what I mean by when, you know, it's good to talk about these things and good to go through what they have released, because you don't want to be a sheep. You know, like, and I'm not about telling you, and that's what the whole thing with 9/11. I'm not ever going to try to tell you what I think happened because I don't know what happened. But it's good to know all the facts and to educate yourself of what's going on. So at least you could realize that shit is not what it seems to be. And we are being lied to. And who needs magic and fairy tales? Because this stuff is actually happening already as far as, you know, like remote viewing and things like there are abilities. And even like, you know, you love the show Stranger Things. Stranger Things is based off the Montauk Project, which is based on this MKUltra stuff. Like all of this stuff has happened.
Well, and even X-Files. Remember X-Files?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was based on a lot of CIA cases.
Well, what's scary is why would the government actually start to release UFO files? That's what got me going. Those things just don't get like openly released.
I don't know, but they opened the I mean, they basically handed over the file cabinet.
Exactly.
Because they want to prime us to accept it. They're ready to introduce them to us.
Yeah, they want to soften it up. Yeah, you might be right. Get us prepared for it. So make it like it's a regular thing.
Right. And exactly like the time when was a SpaceX launch where a lot of people didn't know what was happening. We thought that was aliens. We were like, what the heck is that?
Yeah,
we had
population control.
It didn't look anything like NASA. So for anyone who didn't know what the hell that was, I was tripping balls. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah,
that was
Irvin, you mentioned like why subliminals,
right? Why sex for Disney?
Because if you so think about Disney. Disney targets children, and even though you have to look hard to find those subliminals, our subliminal mind, it stores those images, and it's about sexualizing children. At the end of the day, that's what it is. They want to corrupt the kids as early as possible. So if the earlier they start, the better off, the better off it is for them. Not only that, there was this guy that come forward. You talked about Alex Jones. There was a man that went on Alex Jones' show. He was a man of prestigious background. I can't remember. He was in like the CIA, and he said that their main goal was to introduce 12 perversions. Are any of y'all familiar with that?
It sounds familiar, yeah.
No.
They wanted 12 perversions. One was bestiality. One was pedophilia. One was basically it was all of them were demoralizing society in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. That was in 2012.
Mm.
Oh my God.
They want to keep our energy and our frequencies low so we can't ascend, so we can't grow our consciousness, so we just remain sheep and sheeple people. Because if we really knew what was going on in the universe, if we really knew what was capable with technology, if we really knew what was capable even as ourselves, our beings, as far as tapping into these abilities, then they wouldn't have the control and power that they do over us.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure when the whole subliminals with Disney, I'm sure there's going to be a correlation of pregnancies and stuff like that.
Yes.
It probably is.
You're so right. Because I know growing up in my house, we had all of the Disney movies. You know, you would think that's the most wholesome thing for your kids.
If you go back and watch them today, you wouldn't believe the shit that was said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's funny how when we watch cartoons now as an adult, you miss all the puns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You watch back and you're like, what the heck did he just say?
There's a lot that it's like I had no idea. Right.
As a kid, it went right by you. Now you're like, oh, what?
Yeah. You know, a lot of what went by me was those double entendres on Three's Company. When I was a kid, I used to watch that like crazy.
There's so many sexual innuendos.
Yeah. Man, you know, I know everything regarding 9/11. You know, and I'll be dedicating like a week of, you know, because it's gonna take like a week of lives every day to even tap into everything about that. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it.
People don't realize COVID and mask. We were called sheeple. So, COVID. Oh God, how much more time?
That was an agenda too.
Well, Okay, here's the thing.
People are sick. People are absolutely sick. Don't mistaken a plandemic, okay, and them controlling this narrative as people aren't getting sick. Absolutely, people are getting sick. People have died. They're not the same. But
No, COVID was absolutely created.
it was created.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. I mean, even remember when they had like a lot of the UN inspectors, something to do with health, and when you asked them about China, they would turn off the screen and pretend, "Oh, I
Yeah.
busted out." And all
Or
of
how
that.
about Fauci back in 2017? There's an article of him literally saying there's going to be some kind of natural disease, some kind of
Mhm.
pandemic that is going to occur during Trump's presidency. I'll pull up the article. It was crazy. Okay.
But Melissa, Fauci created it.
I don't
don't think
want to sit here
necessarily
and say who created what.
Do you think that COVID was a beta test to see
Most
how
likely, yeah.
how society is going to react
I
to
don't
a
know
pandemic
Absolutely.
before they roll out the big mama?
I don't
the
know
one that kills
why
a billion
the
people.
sickness itself was created. All I know is that whether it was planned or whether, like it happened accidentally, all I know is that they absolutely use this as an experiment to see how easily we will comply.
And look what's happening now. They're
Don't
trying
go
to
to
tell you,
work, go to your house, lock yourselves
they're-
in. You're not allowed to touch your loved one. Wear this over your face,
right?
okay? And we
Right.
complied.
It
There
spreads
are
us
so
apart.
many.
But also, there. I don't know if if this has happened or it's going to happen yet. I haven't really followed up, but there's proposals that they want you to have this stupid shot, or you
Yep.
can't get a passport, or
Well,
you
a lot of
you won't get
doctors
the
and
mark on your
nurses,
passport.
a lot of doctors and nurses had come out. They just wouldn't be on mainstream media, and they would say, "Listen, you guys, we have patients who, are dying from. They have long lists of prior diseases, and they would die from, diabetes, whatever it may be, no signs of COVID, and they would be having us document the cause of death as COVID. They would be altering these numbers, and they would say, just sign it off as COVID, just sign it off as COVID."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have these doctors and nurses coming forward saying things aren't adding right. They all advocated to be put on ventilators, yet the ventilators is what's killing them. A ventilator is made for a person who is no longer able to breathe on their own. Their body cannot do it. But if you're taking people who have low blood oxygen but are able to breathe on their own, you're actually making their condition worse, because now the body is thinking it can't.
Enriching the blood with oxygen.
Mhm.
Too much oxygen.
Yeah, permanent damage if you do live through it. But there were so many agendas that could be pushed through the COVID situation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
COVID is absolutely real, but look what it opened the doors for.
Right.
Right.
Okay, like
I think COVID was when COVID happened.
we had
they
our
thought
9/11
it was
when I was a kid, and I told my son, my yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, there's a
I
delay.
told my 14-year-old.
Yeah, there's a bit of a delay.
I told my 14-year-old the other day, I said, look, 9/11 was our life changer. COVID is yours for your generation, because we have the passports that they want to push to where you can't fly without the vaccine. Or
Right.
have you guys seen the sticker that they're promoting now, like the well check sticker that goes on the window of like businesses? Like all these
No.
celebrities are coming out. Yes, they're using the celebrities in commercials.
Yeah, they weren't going to ruin a good opportunity. I mean, this is a great
No.
opportunity for them to roll these programs out and implement these.
Listen, there's always
things.
ulterior motives, whether it happened naturally or whether it was man-made. All I'm saying is that they use this stuff as your advantage, okay?
Yeah.
And they do this to push an agenda.
What did
They
we do? We lose.
absolutely
We always lose civil rights. It's in some
Well, look at
point.
this. We're losing our rights. They're trying to say that we need to get vaccinated. If we don't get our children vaccinated, they won't be able to go to schools. If we don't get our
Yeah.
vaccination, we won't be able to travel. That goes against every right we ever had, people. Like,
It
so
does.
it's not about people are sick and dying. I know that, and that is awful. But that is not a reason you can say that I have to put something into my body, that I have to inject my kids with something. If you want to do it, I respect you. That is your choice. But it's also my right and my choice to say I do not want to.
Well, they want you. They want to put it on your passport. Say if you had it or
Mhm.
not. If you didn't have it, then it's
yeah. I mean, they
it's
basically
not on your
forced.
passport. You can't come back into the country.
Yep, before you're going to have to take it.
Right, you're going to have to take it. It's going to get down to where there's only a handful of people left. Well, all right, fine, I'll go ahead and do it. Just to make life easier. But everybody will comply.
No, Jillian.
The economy too, you guys.
I will not be getting vaccinated.
I haven't been vaccinated.
Getting my daughter vaccinated, but
No,
I do not judge anybody who chooses to. Okay, and I'm not advocating for anybody not to get vaccinated. To each his own. All I'm saying is you can't tell people and control them and say they have to. That goes against the Constitution. It goes against every natural right we have as people, because I'm very much against who are you as another person on this planet, no different than I am. I don't care what your title is. You are no different than I am to tell me what I have to do in my body or my child's body. So I'm not advocating for someone not to get the vaccine. I'm just advocating for you can't dictate and tell us we need to.
No, I took and reason why is I wanted to see for myself, and I took the worst of the worst. I purposely chose Johnson & Johnson just to see how it is.
Oh God.
I took it, and to me, I was fine, and that's, again, everyone just
There are doctors who came out and listen, it usually takes at least 20 years to create a vaccine. They need a long time to do trial and errors, to test it on animals, to really be able to figure out. They didn't even have enough time to understand what this disease was, as far as we know. Okay, so we are the experiments, and there are doctors who coming out and saying, listen, in these vaccines, there's tiny pieces of metal, and these tiny pieces of metal, it's binding to your brain, and you have no idea the long-term damage that it's going to cause. So no, I will not be a test subject. That's my right to choose.
What happens when you have a child? When you have an infant, the first thing they do is they begin the immunizations. That's the first thing they do.
Yep.
They take your child away. They take the child from you, and they start injecting it. Hepatitis, whatever, measles. An infant would get how many shots before its 5th birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, I could show you 3 pages worth of list.
Yeah, but an infant right out of the womb gets an immunization shot. I think it's for. I believe it's hepatitis. It might be.
It is hepatitis.
Johnson & Johnson can't even make baby powder. And she's right. There's major lawsuits coming out if you've used Johnson & Johnson. I'm telling you, in 10 years from now, you're going to see commercials. Have you or a loved one been vaccinated with the COVID vaccine? Well, you are now eligible for a payout because of the amount of issues that's going to come from it.
You know what's going to? No, they're going to make it. They're going to be immune from prosecution. Watch.
Yeah,
you're not. They already are. Those. You're not going to be able to sue them when you take that vaccine. Yeah, they already are. Then yeah.
Irvin, have you had your titers checked?
So everybody that ran to get that shot, if in 5 years you start seeing cross-eyed, you can't sue anybody. It's your own fault.
Yep.
Right. And again, if I could have the floor just a quick second. I took the vaccine because I'm crazy like that. I want to see what happens. I knew exactly what was I getting into. I know it can't sue. I already knew that. But as crazy as I am, I'm not going to do that to my daughter. And what scares me now is a lot of the parents are like talking. I think our school is thinking about it, which is crazy.
Yeah, I will homeschool before I do it.
Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, Alchemy by the Stars. I'm sorry for anyone who is either going through something like this or has a loved one going through, and not just COVID, any, disease or struggle, with health. And I'm so sorry. And hello, Mustang Sally. I have so much respect for Mustang Sally because day one, she came over to my lives from Robbie's, and she heard me, yes, I was doing true crime, but she also heard that I was going to be talking about things like we're talking about tonight. And she's not someone who really believes in that kind of stuff, but we were able to respectfully disagree. And since then, she has made such an effort to go out of her way and always show support for me. And I love people like that, where you don't have to always agree or even like but you're still willing to come in and show one another support. And that's all I ever ask for. And, but yeah, I was just saying, I'm sorry for anyone who's going through anything health-wise, and it's just not fair. And that's what pisses me off about the technology and the things that the government's holding back, because they absolutely have cures for these diseases and medicine, but it's about big pharma, and this is about money, and they want to keep it strict.
Big pharma is the biggest lobbying in Congress.
I'm surprised you said that. See, I'm over here thinking she's not going to want to listen to this conversation, and she's like, I refuse to get the vaccine. I don't want an arm growing out of my forehead in 2 years. Yes, exactly. I was saying, Sally.
But
can I just say something about Moderna, the Moderna vaccine? So with Moderna, they were actually the makers of the anthrax vaccine back after 9/11, the vaccine that they forced on all of the military. The military.
Yeah, they have to take it. Their property.
Were forced to take the anthrax vaccine against their will, because when you're in the military, obviously you're property, right? Well, servicemen are still coming down with cancer from that vaccine to this day. So Moderna had one foot in the grave. The Congress, the government, everybody refused to do any more contracts with them after this. COVID hits, Fauci and Bill Gates funds Moderna and pulls them out of their grave. And here comes Moderna creating this vaccine. So I'm not surprised to see someone saying that their family member's sick from that vaccine. And Moderna also specializes in the RFID syringe. So I just wanted to put that out there.
The chip.
Yeah, we're all afraid of vaccines that we had. I mean, is it really bad though?
Not all of them.
We had many vaccines. So what's to say this one is bad and this one is good? And like, how do we know which is good and which is not? I'm pretty sure. Oh, was it?
What was that?
No, I was just reading the chat. It said, my town had a vaccine happy hour. Anyone that got the vaccine got a free pizza.
Yeah. Hey, Dave G. I just bothered Dave G because he sent me something about Bill Gates predicting the next outbreak, and I'm like, you're listening, but not. Come on, get into this chat.
Right, but if you look at our human nature, it was about time.
Yes, Nelly.
Big virus.
Sorry, but every time they were reporting the amount of deaths, it was nowhere near what the actual CDC website was reporting.
What happened to that one?
Everything.
Remember a while back that nurse was vaccinated on live television?
Oh, and she fainted.
She passed
out.
A lot
of people have having these reactions.
Well, they couldn't find her or something. Like she came up missing or something. Did anybody know about that?
Her social media.
I didn't want to say anything because I don't want, I know you've said that in the chat, prior, but I didn't want to single you out and mention anything. But I know that you're going through your own battle, and and it was really you that I was saying, I'm sorry for anyone that is going through any kind of, health struggle, and you are definitely in my prayers, along with anyone, going through something like this, But absolutely, you're already pumping in literal poison into your body. The last thing you need is something else. And so I'm so sorry that you're going through that.
Shaq, that nurse you're talking about.
Yeah.
She, they actually found records that prove she died.
Oh, she died?
Oh. Yeah, there was a physical death record in her.
Somebody said
in her exact
in the chat that she just posted on her Instagram.
Oh.
Well, was it the same woman? I think her name was Lisa, I believe. Lisa something. She was a young nurse, and she was vaccinated on TV. I don't know if it was one of the major networks like CNN or Fox.
Her name was Tiffany or something like that, and she was in Alabama.
I thought it was Lisa, but
I mean, if you look at her before she took the shot, she looked like she was already about to pass out. She looked like she was a nervous wreck. It could be because it was on like national TV and stuff, but she did not look well from the
she said that. Nelly says that they're putting posts on her Instagram, just not her face.
Oh my
So somebody's
God.
Someone's on her page.
she's got a phantom poster.
Yeah, and
You guys,
what's so crazy about
my
that?
brother got the vaccine. Less than a month later, he died. They said heart disease. I don't think so. And he would laugh
Yeah,
at me.
people are dying.
Going to get it. There's
They
people
have
who
study
are
that shit.
out. Yeah, there are people who are coming out. They're just not putting this on mainstream media news, you guys, but they're coming out. And ever since, like, within a week of getting the vaccine, they are having uncontrollable muscle spasms and the shaking and all different type of, responses and reactions. And it's terrifying.
I'm so sorry, Mustang Sally.
I mean, look how long
My
it takes
dad and
for
my
a
brother
normal,
got the
a
shot,
normal
and I'm so
vaccine.
nervous.
How long it takes for a normal vaccine to come to market?
Yeah.
From the time it's researched, tested, it could take as much as 10 years before it's rolled out to the public. And this thing, would they have about 9-10 months, and they had it out already?
Yeah.
Unless they knew prior.
Yeah.
And they were able to get ahead of it, because if you remember back when this all first went down and Trump was, I remember there was a hot mic, and it was, because he was giving press conferences daily.
Mhm.
And a hot mic picked up about, because they weren't wearing the mask, and someone said, it's okay, we all got the vaccine already. And there was no vaccine at the time.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear
Nelly,
that.
I agree. And I do think that they're probably doing that on purpose. But there really was a literal death record found with her
So
now,
sorry,
not long after the rumors. And the girl was not her at all. She looked like her, but it was obvious it wasn't the same nurse. And we've never seen proof of life after that. But there is a death record of that woman's name. She's got the same age. She shows that she died.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
My mother got the vaccine
Yeah, majority
about
of my family.
3 months ago, and she still, even today, is still complaining of, and it's minor compared to a death or any other major
But it's all
complications.
valid.
But
It's
she's
all
just
important.
complaining of soreness in her arm where the shot was. I said, "Is it the one where you got the shot?" Yeah, but she's complaining of chronic just tenderness and soreness in the spot where she was injected. And this was 3 months ago. She got the shot,
and she's still having complications.
and she's still having pain in her arm over it. And it's minor, again, in the grand scheme of things, and compared to all the other. No, she got both shots. She got both parts. I believe she got I want to say she got the Pfizer. I believe.
Yeah.
But
see, I'm terrified about
it. Was a 2-part shot, but she's still having arm like pain in her arm, as if she said she feels like she just got it yesterday, but it's been 3 months and it still kicks in. She said she wakes up and it's just her arm is sore. And it's starting to bother her.
That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely a government or a worldwide.
I hope she's okay.
She's fine. I mean, she's got no other complications. I mean, it's minor, but still.
I have thought of that, Ontario.
Well, it's not just the vaccine, y'all, but also COVID itself. The after effects that I've heard people are experiencing after having COVID, it's like people have anxiety that never had it before, panic attacks. People said their sense of taste and smell has never came back months later. What kind of virus does this to somebody?
I don't know. It's done a lot of crazy shit, though, to people.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a real virus.
It's just really strange. There's no doubt it's real. I know people.
Respiratory failures is probably the main one. Respiratory issues.
Yeah.
I heard blindness in some people.
Yeah, like it's a whole.
Yeah, but they won't put it through mainstream media. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's buffer.
Wow.
No, the mainstream media is not going to touch it. Are you kidding me? They're not going to say a
It's
bad word
terrifying.
about this.
Mainstream media only wants.
I know my
to
dad and my
show what
brothers.
their official narrative wants they to be.
Yeah, they're not going to say a bad word about a vaccine. Not one bad word.
Mm-mm.
I don't think so, Ontario.
Bite the hand that
If
feeds
you'd
them.
like to go for
Their
it.
sponsors. And
I'll be
pharmaceutical companies are incredibly wealthy and incredibly
If
powerful.
you guys get a chance, go ahead and look up that commercial. Yeah, they are.
What commercial?
But the commercial, the WellCare commercial with all the celebrities, you know, it's the same old thing.
Oh yeah. I think I've seen I've seen one on. I don't watch a lot of TV, but on YouTube, they got Spike Lee.
Yes,
walking through
that's
Brooklyn. You know, putting a grandma in a car, sending her off to get her vaccination. Like Spike Lee's back in, he lives in Brooklyn now, I guess. You know, like he's. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, and now they're saying if your local stores and businesses don't have this sticker on their window, then don't support them. Basically, only support the businesses that have the sticker, the WellCare sticker. Yeah,
that's weird. That's isolation and causing separation. It's creating sides.
Yes, it is. And the economic effects that it has on us, there's going to be so many people in the next few months that's going to lose their homes.
Yeah.
That haven't been able to.
Well, some states have already started to cut
to pay mortgages. And you know who's going to
the federal funding for unemployment? Some states are cutting it now.
Yeah.
Red states are cutting it.
Yeah, it's just a mess.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hearing that the banks are going to, in a few months, the banks are going to contact the people, and they're going to say, okay, we've given you breaks on your mortgage. You owe us 3 months back of mortgage, and you have a month to pay, or your house is going to be in repossession.
Oh, yeah.
And these people aren't going to have that money. And then you're going to have millions of people that are homeless. And who's going to come in and take up all of these houses? The government.
The interest is piling up. The meter's always running when you owe the bank. They don't ever stop.
Never.
They'll give you a break, but you're going to pay all that back interest.
Yeah.
They don't mind taking a house. I mean, how much money do they make from selling a house 2 or 3 times?
Oh, it's insane. That's what they want, though. They want all private property gone. They don't want us owning any of our own property or our own land.
We never really own anything anyway. As long as you're paying taxes. I mean, really, what? You don't own a car because you're always paying something to the state. The government's always taking a piece of the pie.
That's true. You're so right.
You never really own anything.
Or Bill Gates owning all of our farmland, or a majority of it. That's terrifying.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what was going on with this. Isn't it funny that Bezos got divorced and now Bill Gates is getting divorced? I just thought that was kind of strange. The 2 richest men on the planet are both getting divorced. One's already been divorced. I think they got divorced about a year ago. Jeff Bezos from Amazon.
Yes.
His wife got $30-some-odd billion in their settlement. Can you believe that? And now Bill Gates is divorced.
Most European countries have canceled using the AstraZeneca. Okay, the AstraZeneca vaccine, as it's killing older people. That's awful. I don't think this COVID thing is going away. There's going to be another crisis. Might be more of a civil war between the rich versus. But listen, this is what I meant by it was a test. They want to see how easily we were going to comply.
Exactly.
And that does not mean that COVID is not real. I'll go through it again. It just means that there are bigger people at play here controlling this. But I'm so sorry for anyone, I remember I had COVID not this past March, last March when it first came out, and people avoided me for months because that was back when, like, oh my God, COVID,
Yeah.
like, and
Did you get really sick?
Okay, so like I got, for me, like I got as sick as I've been with like a cough and chest congestion, that I had the ear infection, I had all the symptoms. And yes, my oxygen, like blood, my oxygen level within my blood was very low, but they weren't admitting anyone except elderly people at that point, because that was the time where the ERs were quarantined off. You weren't allowed to go in with anyone. Like they had the rooms were literally blocked off with a bunch of like cellophane and stuff. But I had it for about 6 weeks, but I ended up being fine. But like it was just like, like you're constantly just trying to like, you can't catch your breath. That's really what.
That's scary.
But like it was so new then that like if I didn't even want to tell people I had it because they avoided me for months. And if people even found out, oh, you had it, even though you're well past it, they would back up from you. It sucked actually.
So sad.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
mm-hmm.
I agree, Irvin.
COVID is real and government hyped it up. Oh yeah, well that's what I meant. Like if you had turned on Fox News or CNN, they would say that the death tolls, okay? But if you went to the CDC website, it would be nowhere near what they were advertising. And then all of the doctors and stuff, you can't go to the, turn on the TV and expect mainstream news to tell you the truth. So I would be going on just public platforms and it would be doctors and stuff posting and risking their jobs, okay? And showing that we're being told to sign these death certificates as COVID, even though these patients had already a bunch of underlying conditions. They exhibited no COVID signs whatsoever. They weren't even in the COVID, unit. And they were just tested for COVID, but they were told just to sign their death as COVID, as a COVID-related death. And this nurse, I remember, snuck in a webcam and started recording like the computer systems and the patients. And they would be putting patients who were COVID negative and storing them and rooming them with COVID positive patients, which obviously you don't do. But they were intentionally like putting people together and stuff. It was.
Well, the hospitals were given, what was it, like $30,000 per ventilator for like, so there was an incentive for them to put people on ventilators. Mm-hmm. And there were nurses that come out and were speaking out about it. And they were like, look, we're killing patients. There's patients coming in that aren't even testing positive, and they're putting, or they will test positive, but they're fine. The symptoms aren't that bad. And they're putting them on ventilators because for each hospital, they would get like $30,000 per person that they put on a ventilator.
To sell some hospital equipment.
Yeah, and then it was like $10,000 per COVID patient.
Oh, God.
So
follow the money.
That was so disgusting, man. Oh, that was so bad. Or what about all of the elderly people who died in their nursing homes?
Yes, and freaking what's his name? From New York.
That's in your neck of the woods. Cuomo.
Yeah, Cuomo he's about to get in New York. And it, like, at first we were New York and we stood strong, because we were really the epicenter of it. And then ever since then, it's just like Cuomo's out.
Yeah, Whitmer too. Gretchen Whitmer, she did the same thing. Gavin Newsom, he did it.
Did what? What do you mean did something? Whitmer?
And you can't tell me well, that was uncharted territory. We didn't know about COVID at the time.
Whitmer,
first thing you know.
Their executive orders is what people are having a problem with. Whitmer's dropping these executive orders with everything.
She's still power hungry.
Yeah, well, she's been doing it. I live in Michigan.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Shaq. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It's okay. I'm stuck with Roy Cooper too, so like it's not like I'm any better.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, I'm going to have to get off because I have to pee really bad.
What?
But yeah, I really have to pee. I've had to for a while and I've tried to stick
Why
it
don't
out.
you just say I have to pee and just excuse yourself?
I
I mean,
don't know.
We would have handled it.
I don't know.
everybody would have been real quiet. We could just listen to the trickle.
I wouldn't have brought the laptop. Come on, I have some dignity. I don't like these. It's not a stream.
Powerful. You're when they're making bubbles.
It's more. It's more of a tinkle, okay, like a like the way you described it was like a fucking fire hose.
I grew up in Michigan.
Well, I had so much fun with y'all tonight. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate both of you and Irvin and Nelly and everyone who came up on the live and everyone in the chat who contributed. It was a pop-up live. We didn't really have anything planned, but I love it. I feel like that's when the best flow of conversation comes about and the most fun.
Yes.
But I repeat, everyone being so respectful in the chat, even though the topics can be a little touchy and emotional. I understand that, but I appreciate, just the respect and for us to come together and have those discussions. So thank you to everyone. And I look forward to doing it again.
All right. Good night, guys.
Namaste,
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Peace, love, and light to all. Mwah.